X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A spell that attracts all who spit facts online all the time.
Can you see it? All the ones who drag my name every single day. Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you see it? They keep saying you don't have what it takes to carve out your own name underneath the shadows of gods. And I keep waiting for the day disbelievers say I flew way too close to the sun. I wait, but it never really comes. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A spell that attracts all who speak facts online all the time. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A force that compels all to rebel from all right shackled minds. Why do they just stand there against when they fall from the battles I have overcome? You feel it, feel the cope and the seething tone that they make while I stand up, man among gods. And I keep thinking with my mill, shooting ropes in my cold that faces towards the sun. They hate, but I'm sitting comfy with their mom. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A spell that attracts all who speak facts online all the time. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A force that compels all to rebel from all that shackled mind. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A spell that attracts all who speak facts online all the time. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A force that compels all to rebel from all right shackled minds. It's you and me, your mom, it's me. I'll take another hit from my name. You see now, watch me right now, punch your things now. Show you how.
Guys, I genuinely don't think I could ever go to VidCon. I don't know if I could control myself if I meet one of the people behind YouTube's recent UI updates. From switching the go to your Google account and go to your YouTube channel page buttons getting completely flipped. Like, they just flipped them around for no reason whatsoever, so that your, like, muscle memory makes you click the completely wrong thing, which takes you to, like, an insanely different page off of YouTube. Absolutely infuriating. And on top of that, setting up a stream is a series of, like, 20 steps, and if you fuck a single one up, you have to delete the entire stream, end your stream, of course, and make a whole new one from the, like, following all the steps and making sure not to fuck any of them up. The most important of all being to not forget to hit ultra low latency. And for no reason, I did all the proper setup for stream today. For no goddamn reason, my OBS just locked my bitrate at like 3K out of the 6K you need to stream, so stream was unwatchable. And I had to start all over, just end stream. And usually YouTube does this annoying crap when I end my stream, where I hit end stream, and YouTube doesn't actually end the stream because it thinks that my data just dropped off. So I have to go manually end stream on YouTube. but that's just YouTube leaving it open for me to restart my stream by clicking go live and like restart the stream of data, which would be great if that was consistent, because what just happened there was I ended my stream, YouTube instantly without my permission ended it, unlike what it does when I'm annoyed by it doing the opposite when I don't want it to. It doesn't keep the stream alive despite no data coming in. It ends it, gives me no option to resume it. I have to copy all the data over and then restart the stream really quickly and then go live. But it was such a pain in the ass. Oh, I'm not even getting into it, okay? Oh, it was such a pain in the ass. I hate YouTube so much. Anyway, the reason why I'm not showing my face right now is because I have finally ended No Shave November and December. So I've now got a closely to clean-shaven face. How do I look, guys? Oh, and the lights are also off. I need to turn the lights on. Whoop, whoop. Oh, hell yeah. I got both of them on. Nice. They don't look as cool when it's daytime, but, you know, it is what it is. I still need a haircut really badly, chat. My hair is just going insanely long. It's uncontrollable. I need to just get it trimmed down and buzzed. I like it nice and short. But my face is now but a stubbly baby face now. Just a stubbly little teenage-looking ass face compared to how I used to look. Which hair do you plan to cut? All of it? Like, front, back, and sides? As short as I can? Really? Like I always do? Guys, I don't think you realize that I would just happily just shave all the hair off my head if I could magically make it so it would never grow back. Like, I would completely lean into being bald. I really hate having hair in general. It's just kind of a pain. I'm not into my hair. Like, I'm not into styling it and, like, all that shit. I just find it to be a massive annoyance. Yeah, the main reason I haven't done that is I don't want people to think I'm a skinhead. Unironically. Grow it long like John Marston? No, it would look awful. Look how curly and, like, wavy my hair is, dude. If I grew it out too much, it would not look good or be particularly fun to deal with. Could get my laser hair removed. Isn't that, like, expensive? Pretty sure it's expensive. But anyway, hello everybody. Hello. Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's. I know you guys are tempted to talk about drama, even though the drama is pretty much over now. But I must ask that you don't, because that's literally year-old drama, okay? We're not talking about year-old drama. Everything's still cool with Cherry? Yeah, no, Cherry still works with me. Happy New Year's, Xander Hall. Hey, Happy New Year's to you too, Cleaver120. I appreciate it. I saw Hawk on in chat as well. It's good to see all of you guys. I love seeing the regulars in chat. 2024 is going to be fucking awesome. Hell yeah. Hey, Hawkon. Hey, Hash. Good to see you. Good to see you. I hope you guys are having a good one. You could pull off the shaved head if you were gay, Zan. You guys like to say that I'd be better if I was gay in all sorts of different ways. I think a lot of you guys just wish I was gay. Sadly, I can't make that happen for you all. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I can't. I was born this way. You would look a lot gayer if you were gay? Yeah, I'd probably put a lot... I'd actually care more about my hair and, like, styling it and stuff, and I'd actually not want to just shave my head totally bald, I'd bet. Twitter unfairly suspended you? Well, it depends on what you mean by unfairly. I don't know what happened to you, but I'd say that it was unfair when I got banned from Twitter. But I also did tell a Nazi lolicon to KYS. So, you know, depends on what you consider to be a invalid banning. You'd follow the Vosh fashion arc? I've seen his fashion arc stuff occasionally pop up on YouTube, but honestly, I've never been really into fashion. I definitely will look into getting some, like, nicer clothes. Like, I really like button-up shirts. Maybe that's just... I think that's what I look best in, is button-up shirts. So I think I'll probably buy, like, 12 of those or something. Whatever I think is a reasonable amount, and just, you know, have a section of my closet dedicated to that. I'm still working on getting things moved in. I just got a couch. Dude, okay. All right. Crazy fucking thing happened to me on the day where I got my couch, okay? So my mom's visiting me right now, and we went out to get a U-Haul truck. We didn't get a rental car this time around because rental cars are expensive, and my new place is really close to everything we need. And so we ended up finding a cool couch that would be perfect for my living room on, I think it was eBay or something. And we organized, like, all right, here's where we're gonna get it and everything. Here's where the guy's house is. But it's a big couch, and we didn't have a vehicle, so we decided to just rent a U-Haul truck for a day. So we walk to the U-Haul place. We drive the U-Haul truck to the place where we get the couch. We drop the couch off back at my place, and we realize we're out of weed. And we didn't want to have to drive this big-ass U-Haul truck, which is really scary to drive or be a passenger in with someone who is not experienced driving such massive vehicles, because she tore up a piece of my yard a little bit, like pulling into my driveway. It's fixable, though. There's not really grass here in Washington. It's all moss, so it'll just regrow. But we end up walking, because the dispensary is not far. Like, it's a good 10-minute walk, sure, just to get there, and it's a 10-minute walk back, but it's a pleasant 10-minute walk. Like, no big intersections like there used to be on my previous place when I had to walk to the dispensary. I fucking hated that. Like, big goddamn intersections where you had to hit a button and wait, like, 5 to 10 minutes just for your turn to cross the street as, like, cars are just blasting past you, and you're just, like, standing there like a jackass while everyone's blowing past in their cars. Like, I hate that. I really hate having to deal with those intersections. But it's all just sort of quiet neighborhood streets that I have to walk to get to my dispensary. So me and my mom go on this walk, and we get to the dispensary. All's well and good. But on our way back, we walk past these two people who had been there on our walk to the dispensary, but they weren't doing anything of note. Like, they were barely noticeable. I just recognized them from the walk there, but they weren't doing anything before. This time, however, and we're on the opposite side of the street going back, this time, however, it's a guy and a girl. The guy is maybe a foot taller than the girl, half a foot taller, hard to eyeball from across the street, but he's wearing one of those greenish yellow reflective vests that construction workers wear. I'll also note, by the way, and I kind of remembered this since it's happened, a lot of homeless people around here also wear those reflective vests, so in hindsight, this could have also just been a homeless guy. I don't know if he was like some construction worker dude or something. And there was this lady who had her hoodie up, like, over her face, almost, and she was to the side, so she had that, like, Nazgul profile going where you couldn't really see her face. But he was, like, up in her face, nose to nose with her, doing this sort of, like, you fucking, I swear to fucking God, like, this sort of, like, quiet berating, you know? Oh, this was the 911 thing you mentioned on Twitter? Yeah, my first ever, like, legit 911 call I've ever made. I see this, and I like, heard the sounds, because I know the sounds of, like, quiet verbal berating, you know? There's this sort of, like, oomph to it that I could hear, and so I turn, and I see the dude just in her face, like, this is the hoodie, and this is his nose, and he's, like, leaned in at her, just very physically gesturing angrily, and he's doing that, I fucking swear to God, you little fucking bitch, like, that kind of whisper screaming, right? And my mom doesn't notice it. She's walking past me at this point when I've frozen in the sidewalk, and so I grab at her sleeve, like, Mom, look. And she keeps walking, like, come on, let's keep walking. And I'm like, Mom, you can't just, like, walk past this, right? And she's like, don't do anything. And I'm like, so I let her walk ahead for a second. I'm like, should I like call out what's going on or something? This isn't something we should walk past. And my mom's like, just trust me, let's go. And I was like, okay, I think we call the cops. And she's like, yeah, we call the cops. So we walk around the block and we get to this driveway. And I think my mom thought it was a business or something because she seemed very comfortable to just like hang out in this driveway. I was like, we should just keep walking. And she's like, no, we have to remember the street name. And I'm like, okay, but stay by the sidewalk. We call the cops. And first they put me on with dispatch. And I just explain what I saw to the dispatch. I explain where we are. You could see the street sign down the road. That's why we didn't move. And I explained what the two people looked like and what I saw, all that good stuff. They then port me over, like send me over to an officer and have me repeat it. And then they tell me, okay, you can hang up. We're going to contact you to update you on things. You can go on with your walk. And I was like, okay, cool. In hindsight, it was absolutely the right thing to do to not intervene with that situation, by the way, and call the cops. Like, the more I think about it, that very well could have been like an argument between two homeless people, which, granted, while it is good to break it up by sending the cops, probably not best to intervene in. I thought for a bit, what if they were like a couple having a marital dispute and they brought it inside before the cops showed up? I was a little worried about that. But the more I think about it, the more I feel like it was probably a dispute between two homeless people, which means, like, even more so, don't intervene, call the fucking cops. And I think that was the right thing to do for sure. They texted me to let me know they sent an officer, but I didn't get any more like information after that point. What were the light levels at the time? Light levels? Like, was it dark? I mean, it was sunset, you know. The problem is it's noon right now and you can see how bright it is in my room, but it gets so dark at like 5 p.m. Like 5 p.m. and it's basically dusk. And like by 6, it's pitch black out. So we were walking at like maybe 4:30 to 5. So it was nearly dark out. It was nearly dark out. But the cops definitely had time to get there before the sun set, for sure. Yeah, Washington is like part-time Alaska during the winter. Yeah, it's pretty wild. Sounds like your mom prefers security over freedom, but alas, that is the most people, I think. I'm glad you is different. Well, no, she wasn't like going to just like not do anything. She just wanted me to walk with her around the block so that we could call the cops, because that was the correct thing to do, not intervene. Because what, like, as much as I was like in the moment, like, oh, I feel like I should have done something. I feel like we should have like just at least let them know people were watching, you know, just to maybe break it up. But the more I think about it, definitely the right thing to do to call the cops. And I know cops bad, all that good stuff, but come on. Sometimes you see some shit, it's not your business, but you do need to do something. And that may be just getting the law involved. And cops aren't great, I know, but like, what was happening there wasn't something that should just be left alone, that's for sure. And it's not something I or my mom or both of us should have intervened with. Zan, you need to carry torches when out at night. Enemies spawn when the light levels are too low. Honestly, the streets around Seattle are pretty well lit, especially around this time of year. It's homeless people beefing. That's what I'm feeling the more and more I think about it. And that's definitely something you want to get the cops involved with. Because, like, I don't like the fear-mongering about homeless people that a lot of particularly conservatives like to do. But if you live in a city that has a lot of homeless people, you do know that there is always a decent chance that there's violence. I mean, I've seen violent homeless people on my walks before. At my old place, I was walking to the dispensary, and I was at one of those annoying-ass intersections I mentioned before, and I needed to cross the street to get to the opposite side of this, like, 6-lane intersection where my vape store was. And on the other side of the street, on the corner that I needed to get to, was a homeless dude who was just screaming and swearing threats at every single car that went by. Loudly and violently. Just, like, screaming violent threats and swears at every car that went past, standing between me and my path to the vape store. And it's like, I'm not gonna cross that street. I'm not gonna do it. So I walked parallel to that sidewalk I needed to access, and then had to walk past the vape store like 2 blocks to get to the next intersection, because fuck American transportation, roadways, and sidewalks, by the way. And then backtrack to get to the vape store, and then do the whole same thing again, so I didn't have to, like, deal with the dude on my way back. Rough shit. The city center where I go to uni has a lot of homeless people. It's pretty sad. Well, I guess I don't have to worry about semi-doxing my old place, but I wasn't too far away from, like, a big transportation hub at my old place, so there was a very high population of homeless people. I was not in a good neighborhood in my previous place. Well, I was in a good neighborhood on the very edge of a bad neighborhood, to the extent that once a week, or sometimes more, usually less, but I more than once a week sometimes would hear what I'm pretty sure were gunshots. And there were multiple stories that my mom would send me, of course, because she was on top of all the crime happening in my area, of, like, armed robbery, armed theft, like, first-degree murder that happened around here. And it's like, oh, yeah, I heard that gunshot the night before. Yeah, no, I heard those gunshots. I remember them. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, it's, it was pretty funny. And I always left my window open, so I was always like, oh, that gunshot was, like, 5 blocks away. Holy shit. Did I hear the Hyperloop is dead? Everybody predicted the Hyperloop would die, my friend. That is no surprise. No surprise at all. Dizzle McFizzle, thank you so much for the 9-month Tier 1 sub over on YouTube. I really appreciate that. Says, Happy New Year, dude. Keep on keeping on. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Dizzle McFizzle. Really kind of based of you. Very poggers of you, even. And then Orther's Dork, thank you for the Tier 1 gift sub to Cleaver120. I really appreciate that. Thank you for the 5 buccarinos. Really kind of you. No dono message to go along with it, but I really appreciate it. Very based. And then, of course, another $5 from Orther's Dork with the Tier 1 gift sub to Prancing Goldfish. Thank you so much. Says, remember to take care of yourselves in the coming year. It's okay if you fall short sometimes. Everyone does. We can get through this year. I know it. I've got a good feeling about this year, my friends. I've got a good feeling. Oh, by the way, bird update. Some good news and some bad news. The good news is the amount of seeds I've been putting out in my backyard has attracted a massive army of all sorts of beautiful birds. My backyard is practically a open-air aviary, I think is the term for it at this point. It's awesome. However, the nuts and the seeds and whatnot also attracted a rat. I googled it, and it's a Norway rat, the common, like, pest rat, the big ones that you deal with in America. Seattle has a big problem with them. Now, they don't live in my house. I know how to detect if rats live in your house, because I've lived in a house with rats before when I lived with my uncle. And if you've watched me for a while, you know how I handled that rat problem, right? You guys know how I handled that problem. So I decide to watch the rat. And it's not scared of me at all, by the way. Like, I walked right up to it, like, within a foot of it, and just, like, watched it eat from the pile of seeds with the birds. I just watched it to see where it would go, and it hobbled underneath my back deck. So there's rats living under my back deck. Now, here's the thing. Rats can attract snakes. Are there really snakes up here? I don't know. Now, here's the thing. I don't have rats in my house. But having rats under your deck is a pretty good way to get rats into your house, which means they gotta go. Which means I've had to stop putting feed out for the time being. And I'm gonna have to look into the legality of it, because I don't know what the laws around it are in Seattle, since it's not technically a firearm. But I want to get a .22 air rifle, like the one I used to fix my uncle's rat problem, and I'm wondering, because it's not a cartridge, it's not a combustible firearm or anything, if, like, the equivalent of a BB gun that shoots essentially .22 can be used as a varmint rifle in your backyard. If it can be, then we're all set. If it can't be, then I'm going to have to deal with these rats the annoying way with traps, which is just slow and annoying. I really just prefer building myself a little sniper's nest, sitting at, like, their little exit, setting some bait outside, and just pop, 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 with a red light shining on the spot until the sun comes up. You do that, like, a couple nights in a row to a week, and you're good. They burrow? Yeah, they burrow. I don't want them getting into the house. They've got to be dealt with. Yeah, I can't use poison, because it can poison other local wildlife, and I'm trying to build, like, an active, like, aviary-type situation in my backyard. So the rats have to be dealt with when they come. I'm just really hoping the legality is cool in my area. I'm going to have to check. If it's not, then God, it's going to be annoying to deal with this problem. But if I can just shoot them with an air rifle, we are so fucking set. And if I can shoot them with an air rifle, I can get a nice scope, attach a GoPro to it, and for those of you guys in chat that aren't super squeamish, you can literally watch, like, a GoPro. Well, it'd have to be a night vision scope, which is going to be expensive. I don't know if I want to go through all the steps. I don't know. I'd find a way to document it if you guys wanted to see. But, I mean, we're gonna have to deal with that rat problem before I can put out more seed for the birds. And listen, I love rats. If you have a pet rat, by the way, I do not hate your rat. There's this problem on the internet with people, like, if you've ever had a pet rat, you'll know they're super smart, they're super sweet, they're super cute, they're super nice, very lovable little creatures. Love pet rats. They're awesome. But there's this tendency for people to comment on people's pictures of their pet rats to basically, like, threaten it and, like, fantasize about killing their rat. There's a very big difference between a domesticated pet rat and, like, pest rats, like the Norway rats that are infesting the underneath of my back deck that I have to deal with. So, yeah. Obviously, I'm not trying to play into that goddamn demonic group of people online. You know, there's a very big difference between adorable, smart, lovable, cuddly little domesticated pet rats and the wild. Not even wild, like, wild rats are another thing too. These are the ones that are, like, encroaching on my land, you know? Aren't domesticated rats called mice? No, mice are a different thing, I believe. Aren't they? Aren't mice different than rats? I'm pretty sure there are, because there's, like, different types of mice. Like, field mice, house mice. Like, there's different types of mice. So I'm pretty sure they're, like, yeah, they're very different. Okay, yeah, so mice are, like, a completely different species than rats. It's like how hamsters and rats aren't the same thing. And are hamsters mice? I assume they aren't. Are hamsters mice, guys? I had a hamster once. It lived for, like, 6 years, 5 years, maybe. I think she was already old when I got her, though. I came home from school one day and she'd passed away. Her name was Hampsty. That was my first pet that passed away. I was so sad. Also, chat. Okay. You guys tell me if this is just tell me if you've ever had experiences like this, okay? But when I had my hamster, I always had nightmares of bad things happening to it, like, every once in a while. You know, that happens with any pet, I think, that you really love. You occasionally have nightmares where it's like, the dog's gotten out, and I need to save it before it gets hit by a car, or, like, you know, whatever it may be, right? You love a pet. Your nightmares will oftentimes be about, like, trying to keep bad things from happening to your pet or a bad thing happening to your pet. And sometimes, when I'd be at school, some, like, ADHD invasive thought would hit me that would, like, get me full of anxiety about said pet. And I remember the day that my hamster died, that I came home from school to find out my hamster was dead, I was at school that day, and I had this, like, all out of nowhere just hit me, like daydream nightmare, I guess day nightmare, about what if my hamster, like, fell into a volcano and I couldn't save it, you know? Something like that. And I come home and she's passed away, and it's like, I didn't have a supernatural, like, premonition moment there, did I? Because I was like very upset, but I was also thinking that too. And there was another situation like that. I know that's like a very sad example, but there's another example like that kind of, it's very different, but I wonder what you guys will think of it. Zan manifested his hamster's death. No, I didn't do that. No. But I was at school, okay? My grandma picked me up from school, but before she picked me up, I was just sitting in class, and as I tend to, I wasn't really paying attention to the teacher. I was like in my own head. And I randomly just thought of a joke from an episode of The Simpsons, like an older episode of The Simpsons, too. And you know that even back when I was like 8 or 9 when this happened, there were hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of episodes of The Simpsons that existed at that point. I get home, my grandma picked me up and she takes me to her house, and we're watching the TV, and we're watching Simpsons reruns that come on at like a certain time every night at that time, like on Fox or something. And that fucking episode comes on TV. That day and moment and occurrence also gave me that same feeling of like, what the fuck is that coincidence? You know? Chat, let me know if you've also had moments like that where you just think of something like really niche and specific, and then out of like 1 in a billion sheer coincidence, that thing comes up later. It's almost like when you learn a new word and then all of a sudden everyone's saying it. Yeah. Ingy Bingy, thank you, or Ingy Bingy 2000, thank you for the $5 super chat. I appreciate it. Says, the way you speak about rats, it's clear you never lived in a big city and went out at night. Dog, do I have to tell the rat extermination story, dog? I have been to New York City. I have seen the colossal subway rats with my own eyes, dude. I've smelled the piss smell of the Queens subway stations, the massive rats of the Manhattan transit stations, the fucking homeless dudes and turnstile jumpers of the Brooklyn subway stations, okay? I've seen it all right? I've seen the panhandlers in all of them, like playing their dope-ass music and soliciting coin. I've been there. I've been all up in the city. I've been in the city of Seattle at the base of the Space Needle several times at this point. Not up in it yet. And I've been to Manhattan, all up in the subway and stuff. I've been to New York. Like, I've been in the city. I've seen the rats. I know what it's like to be in the city. I know what it's like to be in the country. I've lived both lives. But yeah, thank you for the $5. And I'm talking about people's pet rats, by the way. Not like the wild, or not wild, but like the pest ones. Fire of His Love, thank you for the 20 Canadian dollars. I appreciate it. Said Clean Cut Xander. Hell yeah. Sheesh. I like it when my stubble comes out a little further, though. Like, tomorrow or the day after is when my stubble will be at the perfect length, where it's like a slight shade darker around here, you know? Just to complement my jawline, which is looking very sharp today indeed. How did you get your shaving stuff? Oh, it was just buried in, like, the boxes of stuff I had when moving. I just had to dig it out. Like, I'm slowly unpacking more and more each day. Moving is one of those things that, like, it's just a slow process of unpacking, you know? For some, it takes a whole year to finish unpacking from their move. That's not even a joke. I'm sure many of you in chat can relate. Pepper T21, thank you for the $5 donation. Very based and pog of you. Thank you. Sent me a link.
Maybe you should use 2020.
Different generations wishing you a happy new year. What is this? What's this?
Before, to find a better job, to stop being so damn lazy. Please pull your card out. I'm f***ing talking to somebody. You know, maybe in 2020.
I really hate that YouTube Shorts don't have their own independent sound bar. I literally can't play it louder without fucking up my audio balancing on my music.
I don't know, leave the colored hair behind. We could go ahead and leave that back in 2023. You should probably work on looking a little more normal and fitting in. 2023's been tough. Yeah, it's been a tough year. It's been a tough few years, okay? But what's the worst that could happen in 2024, huh? Another financial crash? Please, maybe home prices will.
Economy's actually in a good state.
Do you think in
It's healing.
2024 you could, I don't know, stop calling me? I'll take a fucking Facebook message over a call. I want to wish everybody a very happy new year. Everybody. Unless you're Irish, Italian, Polish.
Okay, we're gonna start to get towards groups there where it's not okay to joke about being racist towards. I like that video. It's good. Thank you, Pepper T21. I appreciate it. Thank you for the $5 donation. Very, very kind and based of you. Will you bleach your hair again? Yes, I will when I hit 100K subs, like I said. Pepper T21, thank you for the additional $5 redo donation. Thank you so much. Hey, Balth. Thank you so much. Said dropping 2 Blue Sky codes. Oh, hell yeah. Here, I'll copy-paste your message in chat so people can grab the Blue Sky codes if any of you guys are interested in hopping on Blue Sky. Honestly, Twitter fucking sucks. I found out recently that I'm shadow banned. Like, I've never been one to claim that kind of thing because I feel like it's sort of a cop-out for, like, I don't know, losing engagement online. But my engagement on YouTube has, like, only gone up. Like, even with the drama that made me lose a bunch of subs, my viewership hasn't been affected by it. Like, the subs that I lost were inactive viewers. So, like, my Twitter dying off with my channel getting bigger doesn't really mesh, even though I was banned from Twitter. And I was told by Cherry that I'm shadow banned on Twitter. I was like, what? And Cherry's like, yeah, I never see your posts on my timeline. I have to go to your Twitter to see them. And I was like, I'm like actually shadow banned. And I'm like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Because my engagement has been like insanely low since my ban, like my ban reinstatement on Twitter. And I know that like Merrick also got shadow banned and had to make a whole new account and it solved everything. But I'm not going to do that. I don't really care about Twitter as a platform that much. What I more so prefer is the fact that I have certain other creators that follow me on there that I have an open line of contact with that I wouldn't have if I made a whole new account and deleted this old one or whatever. So there's really no point. The only use for Twitter nowadays is like coordinating with other content creators, like networking. Kaylee, thank you for the $5 donation. Very kind and based of you. Said, hey, Zan, no job at the moment, but take my $5. No need to donate if you can't afford it, by the way. Have you seen what happened to the Orspawn dev? Yeah, I heard about it. He fell into some reactionary beliefs, and it's all reflected in the mod and its dev footage. Very good content. Yeah, honestly, I'm thinking about doing like a video where we deep dive into the Orspawn shit, because for those that don't know, the Orspawn mod was this like big, really popular mod that all the big clouded up Minecraft YouTubers played circa 2013, 2014, into 2015, I think. But the creator of the mod, like, defunked the entire thing and, like, went crazy, took it down and scrubbed it from the internet, started making his own game. But, like, it's a Minecraft clone with heavy, heavy amounts of, like, right-wing memes in it, right? Like, you hire random, like, he did like a post where it's like, introducing a new mob to my game, Russians. They're really friendly and helpful, and if you give them like a flower or something, then they'll arm themselves and they'll fight for you. And it's like pro-Russia, anti-Ukraine shit. It's really weird. It's really, really weird. Holy shit, it happened again. It's like that time that dev for the Ancient Greece game went nuts. Yeah. Dude, I've been thinking about doing like a follow-up video on the day before, because that's just a personal like hyperfixation I have, is on like the rise and downfall of that game. I really badly wanted it to be real, even though I was like 99% sure it wouldn't be. And I'm glad that my better instincts to not allow my time having the game to run above 2 hours were right, because I absolutely got a refund. I wasn't even able to get into the into a server, by the way. And the second I realized that there was a game-breaking bug that wouldn't allow me to get into the game, period, even if I could find a server, once I did get it, I just immediately refunded. And I was already going to refund if I couldn't get into the game in under 2 hours anyway. And that was the right decision. 4 days later, they shut down the entire fucking studio. There was an earthquake in Japan today. Yeah, I heard. I saw footage of it. Dude, it's so scary how, like, when you really think about it, the crust of the earth that we stand on is like, you ever see, like, muck algae on the surface of a pond? And then you throw a rock into the pond, and, like, the muck algae goes from looking like this calm, steady, almost surface you could walk on, into looking like an extra layer of liquid. Because, like, the waves, it just goes with the water and floats in the surface. That's basically what the Earth's crust is doing. And when enough movement is happening deep down there, the fact that this crust is just floating on a way deeper and more dense mantle of liquidy material makes the surface just basically do that. And the Earth starts moving in waves with the mantle. It's so creepy. The Earth's crust just turns into a non-Newtonian fluid. There's been big waves all over California flooding beaches, and holy shit, that's wild. That's fucking crazy. I've been playing a lot of Sevtech Ages, the mod pack, off stream. I forgot how much I really enjoy it, and regret not finishing it on my first playthrough. It's really, really good, and I'm thinking that once my friend Ethan gets back from this trip that he's on, and he's recovered from being sick, because he got sick while traveling, of course, me and him are going to start a stream-only world on Sevtech Ages, like a server, and basically play on it for the sake of, you know, like gaming content, A, and B, really good, like, background content for while reacting or responding to videos or whatever, right? You guys really like Minecraft as background content, and just vanilla Minecraft is too stale for me. So I want to go do one of the hardest, deep, insane mod packs of all time on stream, which is Sevtech. I'm already exploring the Twilight Forest right now in my like solo world, just sort of catching up on what you're supposed to do, 'cause it's a very long process, but yeah. What's your favorite type of mod? Dimension mods, honestly. Like Tropicraft, Aether, and Twilight Forest. Those are 3 of my favorite mods ever. Like, Dimension mods just tend to add in so much extra content that it's hard to say that a tech mod or a magic mod could be better, right? Nah, man, Crash Landing for a real hard one? Nah, Sevtech Ages is tough. Zan, could I join Sevtech with y'all? That shit goes hard. Absolutely, Hash. Yeah, friends are invited to join, for sure. Yeah, I definitely want to do a Tekkit Classic one, too, at some point, just for the nostalgia's sake, you know? But yeah, thank you for the $5, Kaylee. And then Orthos Dork, thank you for the tier 1 gift sub to Nightmothism. I really appreciate it. Didn't say anything, but I appreciate the $5. Very based and pog of you. Thank you, thank you. And then Stark Contrast donated in YouTube chats $5 and said, Total tangent, couple days ago I found out P-Hub blocked internet traffic from my state and others due to internet ID laws. What? That's crazy. I mean, use Molvad VPN is all I can really say, I guess. Use Molvad. Don't bother using any other VPN than Molvad. I used to use NordVPN, but my friends introduced me to Molvad, particularly my friend Ethan. It's just better. It's better in every way. There's no reason not to use it. Use Molvad. Don't use Nord. Don't use Express. Don't use Surfshark or whatever. I use Molvad too. Yeah, most people who know like anything computers nowadays, as far as this stuff, use Molvad. That's like the go. That's the go through, or the go to. Only $5 a month and it's anonymous. For what? Molvad? Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure you can get it for free though, right? It was raided by the government and they found nothing. They actually don't log anything. Yeah, it's like an actual VPN. Like, most people, including me, aren't actually doing anything that really requires a VPN. Like a real legit one. But like, if you're going to use a VPN, you might as well use the real deal VPN, right? So if you're going to change your location to watch shows on Netflix or some other streaming service that you can't in another place, then just get a real deal VPN. Like, if you're going to pay for a VPN service, why not pay for some good shit? Yeah, interesting stark contrast. I'm sorry to hear that. But yeah, use the VPN. It should help. Thank you for the support so far, guys. I appreciate it. You guys are so kind. So kind and based. Mulvad means hole? Huh. It's a Swedish VPN then, I guess. Cool. All right. Okay, I've got a funny first segment to start us off with here. God, this video is so good. Okay. All right. Okay, this segment's gonna be funny as shit, all right? This is gonna be a funny as hell first segment. You all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1, action. Okay, everybody. So, since Elon Musk bought Twitter, you've probably seen this explosion in a certain type of post that's gone super viral on the platform in the last year or so. And it's these posts by conservative pundits, usually videos or photos of, like, homeless drug addicts on the street in, like, a left-leaning city, but they're, like, actively tripping balls on the street. Like, they're actively high on the street. And it's like the post is like fear-mongering about how like a zombie class is growing or whatever. Have you seen those posts before? I'm not the only one who's seen these, right? I'm sure Elon has retweeted his fair share of them himself. Yes, all the time. I haven't. They're really common viral posts where it's like conservative pundit just like demonizing and fear-mongering about drug addicts and how they're like very dangerous and scary and awful, and look at this one video, this is what's happening on every street in every city in America or whatever, right? And of course there's no actual bringing attention to the fact that these are people who are suffering, who don't have housing and who are like sick, they have like an addiction problem and need help. There's no like drawing of attention to that, simply just framing of them like they're some sort of monster, like actually like they talk about them like they're zombies, right? Now, here's the thing. Conservative Zoomer posters that make these like viral posts on Twitter, they don't actually know a lot about drugs. And to be fair, I'm not a drug expert or anything like that, but these people tend to be hilariously out of the loop when it comes to drugs. So they'll see something or a reaction they haven't seen before, and they'll be like, huh, must be a new drug. I hope you've seen these posts, okay? Because I have one to show you here. This was posted by an account called Cornbread Mafioso. New drug hits the streets, ... What the fuck? If this goes global, we gonna have another crack/meth zombie epidemic. Now let's go ahead and watch this video. Those of you in chat who are based and or tapped into internet like culture from back in the day will immediately know what this is. Well, I mean, it just tells you right here what it is.
How long has it got on it?
I got 28 minutes.
29.
This is gonna be good, yeah. Yeah, you already know.
Rip that shit. Oh my god.
Yeah, new drug, Salvia.
I got cleared one hit. Otherwise, you're fucked. Alright, now hold it.
That wasn't even that crazy of a hit either.
It's just supposed to.
I've seen people go way harder.
Split. You don't need to hold it that long.
I did.
Okay, so you hypers in chat if you've seen Doctor Strange, or like you know what Doctor Strange does, like with the mind reality bending shit. That is what Salvia is like. So that'll give you some perspective on what this guy's about to experience.
I'm feeling hella funny right now. Forehead, my what? Fuck yeah, no, who are you? What the fuck? Everything I say is like a. I feel like. What?
Drop it, drop it. Chill out. Hey, Dante. What the fuck? Chill out. How long?
So that's the video. And a lot of like conservative pundits and Zoomers and just people who don't know what the fuck Salvia is are like retweeting this post, agreeing like, oh, this is some scary new drug. What if it goes global? All right, chat. Here's the lore. Salvia is obviously not a new drug. In fact, here's a 14-year-old video with 5 million views, possibly the most viral and well-known example of a Salvia video online, but there are countless other Salvia trip videos on the internet, and I admit, one of my favorite pastimes is to watch them. One of the best ones, which I can't show here on YouTube because there's vomiting in it, and it's age-restricted, is a video where these two brothers are sitting on, like, the front porch, like, on the steps in the snow, and they both take a hit from the bong, or from their, like, respective bongs, and they both just start, like, absolutely losing their shit. Like, vomiting, falling down, their pants are, like, falling off, and their ass cracks are out, they're coughing like crazy, they're rolling around in the snow. Yeah, I think they were Canadian. And, like, their dad comes out and starts screaming at them, like, I told you to stop with this shit! No more! And, like, drags them inside as they're, like, coughing and vomiting and, like, going, I need help! I can't... It's like that one bit from Family Guy where they're all vomiting and they're like, I can't... Like, that's basically what's happening. And they're just, like, crawling back inside of their trailer. And, the dad, yeah, no, wait, the addition of the dad makes it so much funnier? Yeah, it's so much fucking funnier. Okay, let me explain what Salvia is. Salvia is a non-addictive drug that is actually a plant very heavily related to sage. You can get it in almost any garden center in any, like, store, like a Home Depot or a Lowe's or anything like that, all across America and the world. It's just a garden plant. It's sage, pretty much. It's something related to it. It's very common, and, you can find it practically anywhere. I highly do not recommend doing it. I've never done it, but everyone I've spoke to who has done it says don't fucking do it, okay? And it is not pleasant. It is not enjoyable. It's just insane. It's just an insane roller coaster ride, and it's not fun or pleasant or enjoyable. So there's no reason to do it. However, it's been around for a long time. It's always been extremely accessible and has even gone seriously viral online. This fear-mongering is nothing. But I thought this is too funny not to talk about. Obviously, I have to show you the original, like, what is it, 20 to 18-year-old video now at this point? Like, God, we're in 2024. We're all dying and we're all getting old. The original big money Salvia viral video, driving on Salvia extended version. This is not the original video, by the way. This is a re-upload, and it's 14 years old.
Hello, and welcome to Driving on Salvia. I'm Eric, your host. Now, today we're going to take the car out onto the streets, and we're going to do some K-turns, and then we're going to do some U-turns, and then we're going to go ahead and parallel park in a spot smaller than we have before. To start it all off, however, we need to take a hit of our Salvia.
This is completely real, by the way. He's not faking it. And he's done it many times, clearly.
Done. You're going to hold it in for about 20 seconds.
Yeah, it's internet comment
until your vision begins to vibrate. At that point, you can start your car and you'll be good to go. In the meanwhile, check your mirrors. Make sure that they're pointing in the right direction.
He's trying really hard to hold on to consciousness. And he's gone.
I'll be back in a moment. Ooh, I wait. time on that one.
He doesn't actually start driving. That's the joke. Is that he immediately just starts...
Normally I'm supposed to hold you. Salvia, so long.
It just hits too quickly to do the thing that he's going to do on Salvia. He's also done gardening on Salvia. Where he just takes it and immediately falls on the ground.
Excuse me. I have to go to space now.
Excuse me, I have to go to space now. It's a non-addictive psychedelic, by the way. If this was somebody, like, tripping balls on, like, an addictive, life-ruining substance, I would not be, like, laughing while watching a video of them tripping balls on stream. But this is very much, like, not... This isn't, like, a life-ruining, like, addictive, like... It's a meme drug. It's like an I bet you to take this once kind of thing. This is the best part. There's the salvia plant. Okay, is my point made that okay, salvia is nothing new, all right? It is very much nothing new. It's a drug that, to be fair, not a lot of people know about compared to many, but it's really funny to see a post like this go viral. I'm glad to see that since my quote retweet of it, we've seen a lot of people come into the replies to say, what new drug? This has been around for as long as the plant has been around. What do you mean? This is... Everybody knows what salvia is. Like, this is nothing new. It is a mild poison, but it is a hallucinogenic. Well, yeah, that's how it makes you hallucinate, is it poisons you. Yeah, no shit. That's what all drugs are. Poison. That, like, poisons you a little bit, and you get, like, a little kick from getting poisoned in a certain way. Conservatives being uneducated about drugs. Imagine my shock. Like, dude, imagine they try to ban... salvia. It's like they have to ban the garden plant. That would actually be really funny. It's always hilarious to see failed attempts at conservative fear-mongering, especially when it's war on drugs tier shit. Zan, when I first saw salvia in the stream title, I thought it said saliva, lol. Well, now you know. We're talking about salvia. DMT? I've actually done DMT before, a few times, actually. I mean... If you ever get the chance to try it and you know it's safe, DMT is not the kind of drug that gets laced, but, you know, always know that your drugs are safe. It might be worth trying. I'd honestly say, despite never having a bad, like, run-in with DMT, I'll probably never try it again, just because it's, like, really strong and overwhelming, and it's really anxiety-inducing when you're, like, about to try it. Even when you've never had a bad experience. Because at least for me, there's like a fair amount of nausea I gotta fight through in the first like 3 to 5 minutes of whenever I'd try it. And so it was just not, it wasn't a great time. What is DMT? Damn, we're doing a whole ass drug segment, huh? I guess we'll do DMT explained. DMT is the chemical that makes ayahuasca, if you've ever heard of that. It's the chemical that makes ayahuasca hallucinogenic, distilled down into a pure crystalline form and, like, vaporized and smoked. Basically. Let's see something that's not Joe Rogan related, please. Holy shit, that is a lot of Joe Rogan shit.
Welcome to the...
Well, that's an AI voice video, so that's not even real. Well, I'm sorry, guys. I can't find... It's dimethyltryptamine, okay? Google it. Xander Hall is slowly turning into Joe Rohan. No, absolutely call me Joe Rohan, okay? I love the Riders of Rohan. And Theoden and what have you in Lord of the Rings, so I absolutely accept it. Joe Rohan would be way cooler than Joe Rogan. Just Joe Rogan and Rohirrim armor. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, but no, DMT is, here, actually, what would be easier to find is ayahuasca. There's an episode of, Mindfield, like a Vsauce video about this, like a whole episode of Vsauce's, like, documentary series he did. Would I get cucked by Vice? I don't feel like ASAP Science... I don't feel like a 7-year-old ASAP Science video will cuck me here. I feel like this shouldn't cuck me, but this should explain it. Because this is going to explain the chemical that is DMT, which makes ayahuasca hallucinogenic. So it'll serve both purposes.
Inducing drug ayahuasca has been used for centuries by tribes in South America during spiritual ceremonies, but as it becomes more mainstream...
You would never get me to try this, like, tea form. For one, the tea looks disgusting. Second, I would definitely vomit. From what I heard, you get super nauseous when you drink this tea. I would vomit it up so goddamn quick. I just know for a fact I would, especially with how gross it looks and tastes.
For those seeking optic and auditory hallucinations, what exactly is it and how does it affect your body and brain? Ayahuasca is actually a combination of the leaves of one plant and the vines of another, neither of which have any hallucinogenic power on their own. But the leaves do contain DMT, which is structurally similar to your neurotransmitter serotonin and to the chemical found in magic mushrooms. The problem is, your gut enzymes normally deactivate DMT before it's absorbed into your bloodstream, and this is where the vines come in. They inhibit your gut enzymes from working properly and allow DMT to travel within your blood and eventually cross the blood-brain barrier.
Or you can just get all that in one if you get the bark of a certain plant. Like, apparently that's how it's made.
Effects of the drink usually hit around half an hour after consumption, with hallucinations peaking after 1 hour and subsiding within 4 to 6 hours. But these hallucinations are reported to be different from drugs like LSD.
So that's completely different when it's the tea. If you do just straight up DMT, like smoked it, like the crystalline form of it, it's a 10-minute ordeal. 10-15-minute ordeal, and like after, like at the 16-minute mark, you are 100% back to normal sober. Maybe even feeling a little more awake, alert, and like there than you were when you first took it, like before you took it. And you'll be in a good mood too. But yeah, like the actual smoked DMT is like a 15-minute ordeal max.
And shrooms, in that most people are fully aware that they're visually hallucinating. In addition, instead of hearing voices, the sounds heard are usually exasperations of the noises already occurring around them. And unlike those who consume LSD or shrooms for a good trip, many who drink ayahuasca are seeking to reconcile with their thoughts and emotions, as well as past and present traumatic events. Afterwards, most feel more at ease with their thoughts and more accepting of their present situation.
I don't want to get super into the hippie shit, but I do think there should be heavy loosening of laws that restrict the possession and especially research of these controlled substances. DMT being studied for its like effective use as like a mood stabilizer seems really interesting to me. There's already been pretty good breakthroughs when it comes to psilocybin, but every single time I took DMT, not only, like, after tripping balls, was I, like, 15 minutes later totally sober, but I was awake and alert, and for, like, 3 days after in, like, a really good mood. Like, obviously it could be soured by a bad thing, but, like, I was just generally happy. Just happy to see everything. Like, everything looked prettier, the world just felt a little brighter. Like, kind of just the same effect you hear when people take antidepressants for just, like, 3 days after I would trip balls on DMT. So I wonder if, I wonder if we could do more research into that kind of stuff and find some pretty beneficial outcomes from its use in like medication. Like if you could get rid of like the tripping balls aspect and make that like a medication, like a pill people take, and you get that like good feeling version, just that, then that would be an insane medication. If it had the same effect it had on me for everybody, holy God. Obviously it can't because brains are complicated, but it's worth looking into. And I've seen a lot of researchers that want to look into the way that weed, psilocybin, dimethyltryptamine, etc. can be used for improving people's mental health. They talk about wanting to research it, but the legality restricting how much funding they can get and even where and when and if they can do that research. So it's been really complicated to look into this topic.
Default mode network is a distinct area of the brain that, if overactive, is associated with depression, anxiety, and social phobia. And fMRI brain scans show that ayahuasca causes a significant decrease in activity within the default mode network. This is usually linked with a meditative state and explains why some ayahuasca drinkers feel at peace with themselves and find a renewed sense of purpose after a trip. Additionally, DMT has been linked with proteins that promote the maintenance of long-term memory, neuroplasticity, and the regeneration of new neurons.
Yeah, DMT is not like other hallucinogenics where like you're kind of out of it when you do it. You're 100% there when you do DMT. Like you could hold a conversation and just describe everything you're seeing as if you're sober. You wouldn't want to though. You'd be really annoyed by it for sure. The thing is, and you have full memory of it afterwards. There's no like time gaps or loss, at least in my experience. I'm sure if you do a lot of it, like really hit it, because I've only ever done one big hit was the most I've ever done. Like, all right, put a bunch in there, fire it up. Holding it in like that for as long as I can, and then exhaling once like the world is starting to like fizzle out in front of me. That is the most I'd ever done. I never hit like a second or third follow-up to blast off, as they say. But after watching the room turn into like a kaleidoscope around me, like, and then coming down slowly, you just feel great afterwards. Like you're in such a good mood. You feel really well rested. Like you feel how you're supposed to feel after a power nap in the middle of the day, if that makes sense. You almost feel like you slept, but you were awake and you didn't like lose consciousness, but you feel like you just had a good night's sleep, like a really good night's sleep. Like you're awake and alert and you're like, let's go out and do some shopping. Let's go out and do something, you know? I don't know. That's the effect it had for me.
It can bind to specific receptors found in mitochondria and endoplasmic reticula, and may even have the potential to kill certain cancerous cells. On top of this, alkaloids from the vine have been shown to induce apoptosis in mice melanoma cells and certain liver cancer cells in humans. This is not to say that ayahuasca is a replacement for radiation or chemotherapy, but it may hold future possibilities for cancer research. Interestingly, unlike other drugs such as alcohol or cocaine, ayahuasca does not seem to create a tolerance, so regular drinkers aren't required to drink more in order to...
Yeah, there's no tolerance and there's no addictiveness, so you're not like chasing a high every time you do it that gets harder to achieve every time, and the more frequently you do it, and you're not destroying yourself physically or mentally. I mean, there's definitely got to be some concerns about the mental effect of frequent like substance use like this, for sure. Like any substance like this, there's got to be concern for frequent use, but like generally speaking, this isn't the kind of drug, like DMT isn't going to ruin your life, you know? Like it's not going to get you addicted and like turn you into like someone unrecognizable from who you are now.
To achieve the same effect experienced the first time. After consumption, drinkers usually suffer violent retching, vomiting, and even diarrhea, as the brew is extremely acidic, making an upset stomach normal even in experienced drinkers.
Yeah, so that's... I feel like, couldn't you just solve that with like some calcium carbonate tablets? If it's just like, it's too acidic, couldn't you just neutralize it with calcium carbonate?
And there is a dark side of ayahuasca too. Fatalities have been linked to its ingestion, particularly among tourists, though the manner of death is often undetermined. The increase in popularity has also given rise to fake shamans unqualified to create the brew safely. Ultimately...
Dude, you know what this reminds me of? Okay, You know what drug needs to actually be fear-mongered about? There's a fucking drug from South America that basically turns you into a mind-controlled zombie when you inhale the dust. Devil's breath. Vice will copyright claim me. Scopolamine. Is this video legit, or is this some, like, AI-generated bullshit? Clickbait.
Ever heard of stories about
Fucking hell. God, YouTube is so full of trash now. And you can, like, predict, like, this video seems too good to be true. This has gotta be like an AI clickbait channel. There you fucking go, just right away. Oh, I know this channel, Tales from the Trip. This channel's legit. Okay, we're skipping through that intro.
Also called Jimson weed, the devil's trumpets, moonflowers, and thorn apples, to name a few, is a herbaceous annual and short-lived perennial in the tomato family, Solanaceae, with a confused taxonomy and disputed origin because of their extensive naturalization through temperate and tropical regions worldwide. Of the 8 or 9 species in the genus Datura, many naturally exhibit extreme variability in foliar and floral characteristics, and many are very similar in appearance. The plant has a foul stench and is wide.
Okay, let's go to the effects. Effects of Datura.
Now you may be asking yourself, how can this plant be helpful in any way?
I'm pretty
when
sure.
In modern times, all you hear is how bad Datura is. Let me tell you. It's hard to find a story where the user used Datura and the outcome ended up being beneficial or positive. I can attest to that because I read them for this channel. I believe with my heart that no one on this green earth should take this stuff. Yes, I just told you how centuries ago people used it for benefits, but that was a long time ago, where we didn't have the same technology or doctors as we do now. What was beneficial then is not beneficial now. Not even that long ago, we thought asbestos was safe. We put cocaine in our Coke drinks, and we thought that heroin was medically helpful. Datura is not something to joke around with. The implications from taking this plant can lead to problems that last a lifetime. I keep calling it a plant, but in reality, it is a deliriant. Deliriants alter your perception of reality and make you see hallucinations of things that aren't actually there. Popular hallucinations include smoking cigarettes that aren't there and seeing people and having conversations with them just to blink and open your eyes and see.
Okay, I think this is a different plant. No, I can't find a good video on it because Vice did a documentary and I can't play that because I'll get copyrighted. But it's called The World's Scariest Drug. The infographics show did a video on it, but it's like AI shit. Isn't that the drug they use for voodoo and shit? Yeah, probably. I wouldn't be surprised considering you can basically command somebody to do whatever if they're high on it. It's like, I think the CIA used it too or something. But yeah, it's super fucking scary. Maybe I can find the Wikipedia page. Yep, scopolamine. Medical uses, elderly, adverse effects, interactions, route of administration. Can I get like a solid... Scopolamine, also known as hyoscine, is, or devil's breath, is a natural or synthetically produced tropane alkaloid and anti-cholinergic. I'm sorry, I've got to look at this word. Anticholinergic. There we go. I tried. Anticholinergic. That is used as a medication to treat motion sickness and these are new words, guys. Postoperative nausea and vomiting. It is also sometimes used before surgery. Yeah, but we're looking at the scary shit. We're looking for the scary shit. Adverse effects. Dry mouth, reduced ability to sweat or cool off, usually tachycardia, bradycardia, urticaria, which is hives and itching, constipation, urinary retention, hallucinations, agitation, confusion, restlessness, seizures, anaphylactic shock or reactions, dyspnea or shortness of breath, rash, arrhythmia, hypersensitivity, blurred vision, mydriasis or dilated pupils, drowsiness, dizziness, or somnolence. It also makes you like super suggestive. I don't know why they're not listing that here. I'm sure it's here somewhere, and I don't have the patience to read through the Wikipedia page to find it. But yeah, dude. Listen, there's a lot of scary drugs out there, and there's a lot of not scary drugs out there. Salvia is definitely scary. You shouldn't do it, but it's always funny to see failed attempts at conservative fear-mongering like this with the Salvia thing. What do you guys think of that segment? I feel like it was a fun one. I hate how many online articles lately are obviously AI generated. You're completely right, yeah. It's really annoying. I always try to search something up and just immediately get hit with like the most clickbait AI article ever, and it's like they predictive text it too. So they show results that exactly are what you're looking for, word for word, and then it has nothing related to what you're looking for when you click the link. It's so annoying. That's funny, perpetually wrong. I love segs. Nice, Hakon, nice. Hey, if you're watching and you're enjoying the content and you want to support it, you don't have to, but it's always appreciated. Consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, or even supporting me through Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, whatever it may be, link down below. But if you don't have any money and you don't have, or you don't want to donate, it's completely fine. You can always support me for completely free just by hitting that thumbs up button over on YouTube. For every single one of you who hits that button, it really does help a lot. It forces YouTube to push my content out to more people, and so, for those of you guys who decide to, thank you very much. It's always very much appreciated. Is democracy docket-based or sus? I have no idea what that means. Conservatives constantly demonize psychedelics and the hippie movement as a whole? Yeah, of course. They don't like fun. They don't like fun or cool shit. They're actually very politically opposed to those things. Okay. You all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1, action. Dude, I heard about this. Everyone was talking about it when it happened, particularly people on the right, but even people on the left were memeing about it. But I just wasn't, like, I just had so much on my plate at the time, and I wasn't streaming, that I didn't get the chance to cover it when it was happening. Like, when it was fresh off the press's news. But now, I mean, now we've had time for all this to kind of simmer down and for more info to come out. And frankly, there's really no better time to cover a story like this. I've actually stayed pretty blind on everything but the headline of this story. And I'm excited to finally get into it because it's possibly one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Insane that you ask Gaza as I'm saying it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. No, not Gaza, obviously. From Time Magazine. What to know about Washington's scandal over sex in a Senate hearing room. Capitol Hill was rocked over the weekend by the circulation of an explicit video of two men apparently having sex in a congressional hearing room. The 8-second pornographic clip, first posted Friday evening by right-wing media website The Daily Caller, was reportedly leaked from a private group chat for gay men in politics. The report, which did not name the participant and blurred a face that appeared in the video, claimed it was a congressional staffer in the sex tape and identified the setting as room 216 in the Hart Senate office building. The Spectator, a conservative British magazine, reported hours earlier that an unnamed staffer for Senator Ben Cardin, a Democrat from... Ooh. Where is that? MD. I forget which state that shortening is for. Damn. Why am I... Maryland. Ah! I'd never remember Maryland. I'm sorry. Maryland doesn't matter. I'm sorry. If you're from Maryland and you're in chat right now, I just need you to know your state doesn't matter, and no one remembers it. Senator Ben Cardin from Maryland had publicly shared a series of incident photos and videos of himself, or indecent photos and videos of himself engaging in sex acts in the so-called hallowed halls of Congress. The description of one photo in particular bore resemblance to the video shared later by the Daily Caller. The news immediately gained traction in conservative media. While details remained scant, outlets including the New York Post and Washington Examiner identified the staffer as Aidan Mays Zeropsky, a legislative aide for Cardin. In a statement to Politico on Friday night, Cardin's office said Aidan Mays Zeropsky is no longer employed by the U.S. Senate. It added, we will no longer further comment on this personal matter. Cardin, who has spent nearly 4 decades in Congress, announced in May his plans to retire next year. Holy shit, is it like related? Mays, who is believed to be age 24 and has not responded to a request for comment from Time, posted on LinkedIn on Saturday, quote, "This has been a difficult time for me, as I have been attacked for who I love to pursue a political agenda. While some of my actions in the past have shown poor judgment, I love my job and would never disrespect my workplace. Any attempts to characterize my actions otherwise are fabricated, and I will be exploring what legal options are available to me in these matters." So, like, there's definitely, obviously the right is weaponizing this for, like, homophobia. They do that with literally anything they can do. Like, if something that they can frame as bad happens, and it's done by people they can frame as bad, and those people can be framed as associated with the left, then they will do this is how gay people are at fault for this supposedly bad thing for happening, right? But, like, regardless of whether or not, like, they're gay or straight, it is objectively pretty bad behavior to record a sex tape in a government building when your job is to work in the government, you know? Like, that'll get you fired from literally any job. And I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. Like, I don't think anybody got hurt or anything like that. But it feels like a pretty standard thing to follow through on like, firing someone for having sex in their workplace. Like, that's not generally allowed no matter what. We impeached Clinton over this, right? Yeah, like, I don't remember the details for the Clinton thing, right? Was that, like, he was impeached for lying? Oh, I thought it had something to do with the getting a blowjob. Okay, my bad. Was that consensual? The blowjob thing? I actually don't... Listen, this was way before my time. I actually don't know all the details. I just know the memes, you know? But, like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it probably played a pretty significant part in his getting impeached, unless it happened after. But, like, much in the same way that when Trump got impeached multiple times, a lot of other things definitely played a part in the political will to do so, even if they weren't brought up as reasons to do the impeachment, right? People use the blowjob against him, though? Yeah, of course, just like people are using the sex tape against him. Like, I'm not doubting there's homophobia, but I do feel like that's a little bit of, like, a... Like, you're kind of just bullshitting a little bit there when you say the only reason you're getting shit for this is because it was gay sex, when plenty of people would still be dunking on this if it was a straight sex tape, you know? But the fact that it was someone working for a Democrat senator definitely plays a big part into the political bias, for sure. This is, like, primarily done for a political agenda, but there are lots of people just who think it's funny, you know? Separately, Republican Representative Max Miller told the Daily Caller that Mays had accosted him earlier in the week shouting "Free Palestine." Jesus Christ. While Miller was being interviewed by NBC, Mays denied that accusation. Yeah, so obviously Republican outlets are going to find any way whatsoever to, like, tie this into the left-wing boogeyman that the right is dreamt up of the week, right? Capitol Police have told the media that they're investigating what took place in the hearing room. Attorney Jonathan Turley, a Fox News legal analyst and George Washington University law professor, speculated on his personal blog that potential criminal charges could include trespass, indecent exposure, or misuse of public property. So there's also a potential for crime having been committed here. In the meantime, the incident has elicited a large range of mockery and outrage, especially among conservatives on social media. Recently ousted Congressman George Santos responded to Mays, or Maisie? I can't really tell. Mays or Maisie? Maisie's statement, posting on X, quote, "Having sex in the United States government building and filming it is the reason you got heat. You being gay and having gay sex, nobody gives a rat's ass." Responding to reports that the lewd act took place where Senator Amy Klobuchar, Democrat from Minnesota, sits in the hearing room in question, a room that has also hosted the 9/11 Commission hearings 20 years ago, former FBI Director James Comey's historic testimony on Donald Trump in 2017, as well as several confirmation hearings for Supreme Court Justice nominees, including Sonia Sotomayor and Brett Kavanaugh. Posted a photo of cleaning wipes at a grocery store with the caption, "Christmas shopping for Senator Klobuchar." Jesus Christ. There really is no, respectability politics in Washington anymore from the Republican side these days. Madison Cawthorn, a former congressional staffer turned one-term congressman who alleged in 2022 before he lost his re-election bid that Washington is rife with sexual perversion, posted on X, "I told you." So this has basically been the right having a big, "Oh yeah, this is bad because of gay people," and then whenever somebody says, "Hey, this is maybe pretty cringe and bad or whatever, but it's not bad because it was gay." It's not any worse than because it's gay than if it was a straight sex tape being filmed in this room, right? And then you've got the same people saying, well, no one's saying it's bad because it's gay. They're saying it's bad because it leaked and it was in the Senate room. It's okay, but then all your followers are making fun of it for being gay. It's this really isn't the kind of thing that I feel like the left needed to engage with in the culture war, and I'm glad I didn't see much of it, to be honest, because it's just an embarrassing thing that happened. Someone who is marginally progressive did, and it is trying to be used by the right to reflect on all progressives in Washington, which is obviously a massive fallacy, but people on the right don't tend to think that logically. So an example like this happening once is all they need for them to believe there's some secret gay sex cabal happening in Washington. Which I've already started to see the conspiracy mongering along those lines, by the way. It's already started. But yeah. Can't have sex in the Senate? Isn't this supposed to be a free country? Yeah, listen, I would love to show you the leaked video on stream. That's a joke, I wouldn't. That's revenge porn. But obviously I can't for numerous reasons. I don't even feel comfortable showing a censored image of the thing that leaked. If you guys really want to see it, I'm sure you can go out and find it yourselves. I haven't even seen the image, frankly. I think I've seen a censored version of it in a YouTube thumbnail, but besides that, yeah, I really don't know what else to say about this. It's just kind of a crazy thing that's happened. Only in the age of the internet, right? This is a very, very age of the internet thing, you know? Sure, there were sex scandals and sex tapes and all that, and certainly even in Hollywood before this, but with the internet and just cell phones being able to take video of anything at any time and then immediately post them anywhere, anytime for eternal archiving on the great web, it just leads to a lot more of this stuff all the time, way more often than it used to. And it's made politics so much more turbulent and also interesting, if I do say so myself. What do you guys think of that segment? I feel like it came out pretty good. What the fuck? I leave to eat Subway and I come back to here having sex in the Capitol is illegal? Exactly. It is pretty bullshit that you're not allowed to have gay sex in the Capitol, though. They should totally make a law allowing that. And only gay sex. Straight sex, still not allowed. Only gay sex allowed. Thanks, guys. I'm glad you liked the segment. Remember, if you're enjoying the stream, consider dropping a like, subscribe on YouTube, and ring the bell icon, or even consider going the extra mile and donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, or even supporting me financially through Streamlabs, Stream Elements, or Patreon. Regardless of how you support me, you can also buy merch. Regardless of how you support me, I really do appreciate it. It always helps a lot. If you're enjoying the weed, hit it some more. Hell yeah. Good shit. Zan, where can I find merch? In the description of the stream. And all my videos as well. There's a link to Streamlabs, I believe, which has a merch store for me. You can get all sorts of cool merch. Someone bought a Xander Hall Booba shirt like a couple weeks ago. So yeah, there's a fair amount of merch. You can buy merch. There's Zan merch. Get Zan merch. It's cool. Zan merch. I love Zan merch. All right, everybody. You all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1. Action. Oh boy. Well, I can't say I didn't see this coming. Conspiracy theorist Alex Jones reinstated on X after Musk poll. Reminder, by the way, this is happening after Elon Musk tweeted, I believe it was something along the lines of, I will never reinstate Alex Jones. I watched my own newborn child die in my hands. Anyone who would weaponize the deaths of children for political gain or for their own gains is lower than garbage to me, I believe is what he said. A rare W from Elon when he said that, except it was a lie that he was holding the baby when it died. That was actually his wife, one of his wives. And then on top of that, he's just gone back on it and brought brought Alex Jones back onto the platform. Really good stuff. Really, really good stuff. He's just a liar and not even consistent. He can't keep the promises he makes. This is from Reuters, by the way, but I actually haven't looked much into this story. I know the basics of it already. But let's go ahead and brush up on things, huh? We've actually got a video that goes along with this news story. Nice. I love when these news stories come with a video.
Elon Musk, in a post on his social media platform X, said on Sunday that the account of right-wing conspiracy theorist Alex Jones has been reinstated. The return of Alex Jones to the site formerly known as Twitter comes after a poll organized by Musk backed his reinstatement after a ban of nearly 5 years.
So, I feel like the success of Alex Jones is kind of a perfect example of how the marketplace of ideas does not really successfully filter out the crazies, you know? Like, a lot of people who are super anti-deplatforming, and I used to be like this, okay? I understand why people are like, I only believe you should ever deplatform in the most insane niche of scenarios. Like, I get why people's first inclination is to lean towards that. I understand that. However, what I found over the years is that regardless of how insane and provably false someone's ideas are, they can find enormous amounts of success online for the sake of spreading their awful, horrible, wrong ideas, no matter how many times they're debunked, no matter how many lawsuits they receive that bankrupt them, they can always recover because they have a very strong grassroots supporter base that will always flood them with donations. And they always come back, right? It obviously, more often than not, these people fizzle out into nothing. But people like Alex Jones, the worst of the worst, Alex Jones is never going anywhere. Unless Alex Jones is, like, criminalized, like it becomes a crime for Alex Jones to broadcast himself online in any way, shape, or form, and he has, like, police monitoring him, he will always have some corner of the internet he can inhabit. And once he has that corner, his fans will always be loving and like worshipful enough that they follow him. Like, he'll literally have to actually die is the only other scenario in which Alex Jones pitters out. And even then, Alex Jones will have, like, his clips being reposted by fans for, like, decades to come, you know? And the same is true of people like Nick Fuentes, who, and let's be clear, Nick Fuentes has seriously fallen off. Nick Fuentes saw a enormous explosion of growth with his friendship with Kanye, and did not capitalize on it all that well. I thought Nick Fuentes was going to be like one of the biggest political pundits in the world when he was on Alex Jones with Kanye. And he just completely squandered that opportunity. And now he's back to just being like a pretty big Nazi streamer, but still pretty niche. And not even as big as he was back in like 2020, you know? So it just kind of feels like most of these people do pitter off on their own just out of sheer disinterest from their own audiences in the same way any other content creator does. But Alex Jones has built a media empire with like branding and companies, and he has a history in radio and like a long established like fundamental core fan base that will never leave him because he entered the scene insane and crazy. There's no like, whoa, we just exposed Alex Jones for some really bad shit and now all of his fans are leaving him. He will always be able to fall back on an audience of people that are so reverent towards him that he could just say anything is fake news and a lie by the media trying to silence him. I think another person who did this pretty successfully was Russell Brand. Used to be a pretty big like celebrity, like a mainstream celebrity, but then like became disgraced and became like a right-wing conspiracy theorist on YouTube. Got some bad allegations about him, and his entire defense was just like, the media is trying to silence me. And the allegations didn't really harm him. He's still around to this day doing just fine from last I saw. So it seems like people like this, unless they're literally fully deplatformed, will always be able to fund their insanity and grow their like ideology to more people. And some people think that's not a big deal, but it is a big deal. I mean, we've seen multiple undeniable cases in which ideas spread by figures like Alex Jones, like online radical right-wing figures, have led to real-world harm that is quite serious. Obviously, the go-to example with Alex Jones is the families of the Sandy Hook victims being harassed by his fans, despite him going back and forth on whether or not it was really a fake thing all along, multiple times, and even multiple times admitting that he had just made it up, but then going back to saying it, which is part of why he lost the case so hard. Alex Jones basically, sent all that harassment. There was no other outcome that could have happened from what he said about those families than the harassment that they received. He might as well have outright told them to do it, as far as I'm concerned. However, there's been scenarios like the Christchurch shooter. The largest mass shooting in New Zealand's history ever was by a mass shooter who was inspired by alt-right Nazi memes on the internet. When you read his manifesto, it's literally nothing but 4chan memes and like internet Nazi memes, and he makes references to several large far right-wing figures of the time. So while it's not super duper common, the fact that it happens at all, that these people with such insane beliefs are able to get away with keeping a platform and radicalizing an audience to the point where some of them go all the way and hurt people in real life, it's a real concern. There's not like an impenetrable wall between the internet and the real world that makes it so things said or done on the internet have no bearing on the real world, and things said and done in the real world have no bearing on the internet. They're practically one and the same at this point, as far as like the government is concerned, as far as employers are concerned, as far as frankly most people judging you in the court of public opinion are concerned. The internet is the real world, and the real world is the internet. That's how people treat it.
Close to 2 million votes were cast by the time the poll closed, with about 70% voting in favor of restoring the @RealAlexJones account. Soon after reappearing on the platform, Jones began accumulating followers. His account was permanently banned by the social media platform's previous owners on September.
Jesus Christ, 1.2 million followers as soon as he got... Well, I guess he might have had some of those followers before.
6th, 2018, citing violations of its behavior policies. The ban came weeks after...
You know who is also a really loud, arguer for Alex Jones to get unbanned? Like, actually had a back and forth with Elon Musk on Twitter to argue to get Alex Jones unbanned? Shoo. Okay, it's the only drama bit you guys get.
After Apple, YouTube, and Facebook took down podcasts and channels from Jones, citing community standards. Last year, Jones was ordered to pay nearly $1.5 billion in damages to relatives of victims in the Sandy Hook school shooting.
The fact is, he could actually be personally bankrupted down to the last penny, and he would still recover a substantial, comfortable living from his fan base if he just had to rebuild from the ground up as far as his finances go. Like, within 5 years, he'd be quite wealthy, like very wealthy, within 5 years already.
Falsely claiming they were actors who staged the tragedy as part of a government plot to seize Americans' guns. Since Musk took over the social media platform, X has reinstated other previously suspended accounts, including that of former President Donald Trump. Musk has since sought to reassure...
You know, I will say, Donald Trump's reaction to getting unbanned from Twitter was actually pretty Giga Chad. Donald Trump straight up said, "No, I don't care. I've got my own social media site now. I like it way better. All my fans are there, and they give me nothing but accolades. Fuck Twitter." And he just, hasn't posted since he got unbanned, as far as I know. Has he? Because, the last I heard, Trump was like, "Yeah, no thank you," to Elon when he got unbanned. Rare Trump W, actually. TBH, I think he'll be back once he gets the nomination. Yeah, I'm surprised, though, that he's resisted the pull of Twitter for this long. He doesn't post. He posted a few "come to my rally" but no personal stuff. To be fair, that's probably an intern using his account then if it's just, self-promotion posts and no obviously Donald Trump posts, then he's not using Twitter if there's no obviously Trump posts. He can't control himself when he's on that platform. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, unironically, based of Trump to do that.
Assure users and advertisers that such a decision would be made with the consideration of a content moderation council. But Musk has gone from seeking to reassure advertisers to cursing them out.
He's so cringe and awkward. He thinks, okay, my mom had never seen a single Marvel movie before, and just the last couple days I got her into the MCU, so we've seen, Iron Man 1 and, 3/4 of Iron Man 2. We fell asleep because it was late while we were watching Iron Man 2. But she's always heard, the Elon Musk is the real-world Tony Stark comparison, and she hates Elon Musk, by the way. And she doesn't know what that means because she doesn't know who Tony Stark is. But we watch those movies and she's like, "Oh my God, Elon Musk does want to be this guy and he fails at it so much." Doesn't this remind you of the scene where Tony Stark comes onto stage at that expo and it's he comes off as cool, if not narcissistic and chauvinist, but Elon Musk is trying to pull that vibe off and failing spectacularly at it. And it's actually really embarrassing. Let's watch that again. Let's just watch his little jig he's doing. Dude, look how cringe that is. That's actually embarrassing. The amount of false confidence you have to be able to go on stage and look at a crowd while you do this is insane. But to be fair, all of the people in the audience are yes men. They don't recognize the cringe.
To reassure users and advertisers that such a decision would be made with the consideration of a content moderation council. But Musk has gone from seeking to reassure advertisers to cursing them out. The billionaire unleashed a profanity-laden tirade against advertisers that have fled X over anti-Semitic content. The F-bombs flew at a New York Times DealBook event last month after Musk apologized for an anti-Semitic post he reshared. that falsely claimed members of the Jewish community were stoking hatred against white people with the comment, quote, "You have said the actual truth."
Yeah, totally. It was a mistake. He didn't mean to type out that entire sentence and reply to that tweet and then post it and then keep it up for a while and then like the replies. That was an accident. He misclicked. It was a complete misclick, guys. Complete misclick. Dude, I love when these news stories just have a video that makes it so you don't have to read the article. That's fucking awesome. I love that. But dude, Alex Jones is one of those people who I genuinely believe has crossed the line far enough that they deserve to be 100% deplatformed off the internet. Like, all of their sources of like, making money off the internet shut down. Like, the dude should have to get a job somewhere else. And I've heard people make the argument that this is hypocritical for a lefty to believe. That, like, lefties claim no one should be homeless, no one should be destitute, but then, like, there'll be a really bad Republican, really bad conservative who does something bad, and they throw all of their beliefs of rehabilitative justice right out the door, and like, they're completely hypocritical there, right? And I've been accused of this before. There's a certain point where I think principle is overridden by practicality, right? Like, if I want to keep to my principles 100% of the time, for example, like, let's say you believe lying is bad, right? And you want to keep, like, you believe that principally, lying is bad, it's always bad, right? But then your best friend, who is going through, I don't know, like a medical thing and looks really rough, that's what you think to yourself when you see him, comes up to you and asks, "How do I look?" Now, there's nothing they can do to make themselves not look all rough, so you decide you don't want to hurt their feelings, and you lie to them and say, looking good, let's go. That's obviously a lie. You're obviously breaking your fundamental principles there, but in that scenario, I think most people can agree that it's not hypocritical to say lying is bad, but then to lie in a scenario like that, right? In cases where someone is so bad that they've demonstrated they genuinely don't care about preserving like a basic fundamental care for human life and like preserving of, like, there's a certain set of fundamental beliefs that you would hope every human has, that like everybody, the maximum amount of people possible should be made happy, that we should try to minimize the amount of suffering. Like, you hope that as many people as possible share these beliefs. But many people are genuinely narcissistic, selfish, mentally ill, or just out there enough that they don't care about these things, and they only care about self-serving means, like making money for themselves, growing their own audience, building their own political agenda, whatever it may be. And that is the type of person I think Alex Jones is. Just through and through. That is the type of person I think Alex Jones is. I don't believe that he is repentant for any of his poor actions. I don't believe he will ever stop committing these actions that cause harm. And I believe that as long as he has avenues open to access the internet in such a way where he can build a massive audience, make money, and influence people, he will continue to do these things. Many people are not that bad, even if they're bad online, and don't deserve that level of deplatforming. Alex Jones has genuinely crossed that line. Genuinely. And I don't extend that standard to many people. And as far as like his income being taken away, to the point, I don't want him to be homeless or anything like that, but I certainly don't think he should be able to afford like a drawer of luxury Rolexes off the dime of spreading misinformation, conspiracy theories, and right-wing propaganda after the things he did, and the things that he is likely to do, considering how unrepentant he is. It's just, how I feel. You can call me hypocritical for it. I'm open to that conversation, but, I'm not going to pretend like people don't call that out, but it's the standard that I have when it comes to deplatforming. When someone's gone that far that they've actually caused real world harm and not like internet harm, that's when we got to start having a conversation about whether or not they should be deplatformed for the greater good. Anyway, what do you guys think of my segment? I feel like that segment came out pretty good. Good seg? Good seggy? Hell yeah. Based. Talking to random conservatives in casual conversation, most of them are dragged in and systemically lied to, not generally horrible people, the systemic liars who profit from it on the other hand. Exactly. The people consuming this content are rarely actually bad people. It's usually the pundits that are the truly bad ones. And even then, not all of them are bad. Like Hunter Avallone, for example, used to be a cringe conservative, like, YouTuber, anti-SJW dude. But he genuinely believed that stuff, went through a political revolution within his own identity, and seriously moved his beliefs towards the left. And he didn't do it to chase money. He lost a lot of money from it, and he stood by it. I hope you're joking. I'm not joking. Yeah, no, some conservative pundits are not lying, grifting, manipulative, evil assholes. Some of them are, very rarely, some of them are genuinely just as bought into the narrative as anyone else. Like, as any of their viewers are. Zan's not joking. Hunter is completely genuine. Yeah, he really is. Yeah, no, 100%. His political move is one of the most genuine political, migrations I've ever seen. He actively, ran away from the thing that would have made him more money, in no way was he chasing a grift. And he's been very consistent. Alrighty. Time for the next Seggy. Pog, I've got another good topic lined up here. Man, today's topics are bangers. Hold on, I can listen to this article? I think we're just going to end up reading it. Here, let me take a sippy before I start this segment. I always check my gallon jug for spiders because I leave the cap off, and sometimes there's spiders in this room, and I worry one will fall in here and I'll drink one. Yeah, it's spooky. You don't want to drink a spider. Become Spider-Zan. Real and true and accurate and real. All right. Y'all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1. Action. All right, everybody. Now, usually when I talk about this topic, which is contraceptive rights and access to contraceptive health, it's usually in a very doom and gloom context, right? Like, oh, here's another bill where the Republicans announce or plan to crack down on your rights in this state or that. And I've done a lot of talking about how this is, scary and needs to motivate you, both with fear and anger, into acting and volunteering with Progressive Victory, !PV in chat to get a link to volunteer. And actually do something. Like, you don't even have to leave your house to volunteer and do something. And I've been using this as a way of getting a lot of you to volunteer, but I think for once, it's time to cover a more positive story that shows you the bright side of what happens when we get reasonable Democrats in office that can pass good legislation around this topic. This article is from today, and this bill, or I should say law, I guess, will go into effect today, at the day I'm recording this, which is the 1st of January, 2024. California new laws for 2024, cheaper vasectomies and birth control. You heard that right, guys. This is the benefit of having actual Democrats in your elected office. Family planning will be less expensive for millions of Californians under a new law taking effect January 1st. Women will be able to go to their local pharmacy, pick up over-the-counter birth control, and have insurance pay for it, no prescription needed. Meanwhile, more people will be able to access vasectomies with no out-of-pocket costs. The Contraceptive Equity Act of 2022, authored by former Senator Connie Leyva, a Democrat from Chino, I don't know where that is, requires private health insurance plans to cover birth control products, including condoms and spermicide, without a prescription and no copays. This portion of the law applies only to women and is allowed only in in-network pharmacies. Ooh, I hope that whole only allowed for women thing is a compromise. Because, I don't like when these laws are like only, oh, Chino is Central California. I've never heard that before. That's weird. Okay. Yeah. I do hope that was like a concession they had to make to pass this bill with Republican lawmakers and not like what they want. Like, okay, contraceptive rights, but only for women. Yeah, it was a concession. Okay, thank you. Men will have the option of cheaper vasectomies. A vasectomy is a low-risk sterilization procedure that usually takes about 20 minutes. Cost has long been a major determined factor for men seeking the procedure, which can cost up to several $100s, including follow-up visits. Dog, I've thought about getting a vasectomy, but I think I'm too young for any doctor to give me one. But, like, every time I hear about it, it's like, yeah, it's super quick, it doesn't hurt, and it's like, yeah, but they're still cutting my balls open and, like, doing some shit in there with my balls and then, like, sewing me up. And, like, it's gotta hurt. It's gotta be sore. It's gotta, like, impede on my quality of life for at least a little while. Like, it can't be as, like, walk in, walk out as you think, right? I mean, I would love to get a vasectomy. Condoms aren't that bad, but, I mean, they kind of suck, you know? It's... Any extra step that gets between you and getting to put your dick in a vagina is just not great, you know? If you can mitigate that, then you want to mitigate it. Ooh, yeah, I'm never doing that then, Default X. I don't like the feeling of when you get hit in the balls, and if that's what it feels like for days after, I can't do that unless I'm on some hardcore painkillers that are gonna, like, put me into a coma until I'm 100% back to feeling normal. You're making my balls hurt? I'm sorry. I apologize, Astro Arguello. That's one of the crazy things about, like, having balls, is that specifically when you hear about injuries to balls, it makes dudes just go, and you get, like, phantom ball ache. You know what I mean? Scientifically proven. Billing data shows that vasectomies are becoming more popular following the Supreme Court's 2022 decision that overturned Roe v. Wade, according to national studies. Yeah, no shit. People do not want to have to gamble every sex encounter on literally ending their life as they know it with parenthood. California's new law will apply to about 14 million people with commercial insurance regulated by the state. This new law does not apply to people whose health insurance plan is regulated by the federal government. That's not good. Californians covered by Medi-Cal, that's California's like special insurance plan, the joint state and federal health insurance program for low-income people, already have access to vasectomies at no cost to them. But under federal rules, they'll still need a prescription to access over-the-counter birth control. This fall, the Biden administration announced it is seeking public input regarding easing access to over-the-counter preventative care supplies, including contraceptives. Reproductive health advocacy groups, Essential Access Health, NARAL, Pro-Choice California, and the National Health Law Program pushed for the new California law. They have been working to expand access to reproductive care since the Supreme Court struck down the constitutional right to abortion. In 2022, California also passed a law that eliminated out-of-pocket costs for abortions. See? Actually getting Democrats into office matters, even on a very small-scale electoral local electoral level. It really does matter. Hell, even on a statewide level, it can have really big impacts. How many of you even heard this law was going into effect before today? With a vasectomy, you're on a cushion of no sex for 6 to 8 weeks. Trust me, I could handle it. Lobbying groups that represent health insurers include the California Association of Health Plans lobbied against the law. They argued state mandates increase the cost of coverage for all Californians, as well as to taxpayers. The California Catholic Conference and the Right to Life League also opposed the law, with the Catholic groups seeking clear exceptions for religious employers. Dog, are they actually arguing that nutting is mass genocide? And that if you prevent the nut from being created, and that's like mass future genocide, like why would they be against? Well, I guess they would have to pay for it because company insurance, and so they'd be paying into that as a church because like they're employed by the church, and churches are also companies, so they want to get a religious exemption. God, churches and their fucking religious exemptions, it's crazy. That's so stupid. Yeah. Hell. I mean, how many of you guys, hypers in chat, if you live in California, if you live in California and you're going to benefit from this law passing today, like today it passes, it's now in effect. It is now in effect. You can go, and if you're in California and you have insurance, no prescription needed, you can go get some contraceptive pills. You can go get a vasectomy. Yeah, California, listen, I'm from the South. It comes out every once in a while. Yeah, my old southern accent leaks out every once in a while, I tell you what. Hell yeah. Listen, you guys in chat who are Californians, you can actually take advantage of this as we speak. Go out and get yourself some Plan B or morning after pills or a vasectomy, if you will. You can listen to my stream while you get the vasectomy. Wouldn't that be crazy? Listening to my voice calm and soothe you as they shave your balls and take the scalpel to it? Isn't that a comforting thought? In all seriousness, though, like I said before, I'm usually covering much more, downer topics whenever I bring this up. But for once, we have an example of what the positive benefit is to volunteering and getting Democrats elected into local office, and that's what Progressive Victory is trying to do. And there's many ways you can volunteer, down to like going out to where they're doing canvassing operations and staying in a house with them and going around door to door to canvass, or just staying home and doing phone banking. Whatever it is that you want to do, there are opportunities available. So !PV in chat, there's the link. Feel free to volunteer if you haven't already. I appreciate all of you that at least go and check it out. And, yeah, with all that said, please, like, you guys really should go and do something. I know that, like, it feels like one person, isn't going to be able to make that much of a difference, but I see this happen as a YouTuber when it comes to YouTube stats, that when you point out that every single like counts, your like count goes up. Like, a bunch of individuals who are told that their like counts drop a like, and then you see your like count go up by like 50 or 100, you know? Because a bunch of individuals realize their one like counts. Because when a bunch of individuals have that same thought process, all of a sudden, there's a crowd of people who aren't volunteering. So be the person who steps forward, clicks the link, and volunteers. I really do appreciate it. Every one of you who goes and does something, you know? I do want to do some canvassing operations with Progressive Victory in the future, but for now, with how busy my life is and how much I have on my plate at the moment, I'll have to settle for just getting as many people involved with Progressive Victory as I can. So yeah, please go support them. There'll be links down below in the description as always. What'd you guys think of that segment? I feel like it came out pretty good. Hell yeah, guys. Man, this stream's going by quick today. That's actually fair. I actually don't plan on streaming for super long today. The longer streams are going to be once Ethan gets back and we can start gaming together and stuff. And I'll, like, do my segments more condensed at the beginning of stream and then do more, like, gaming content for the latter half of the stream. Maybe throw in some extra segment reacts, like, on top of that while doing gaming. But mostly just, like, chat with friends and bring people in. Call-ins are going to be nice. I'm excited to do call-ins. I think what I'll do is every other Friday night, or every other Friday day, I guess, because I'm not going to do nighttime streams. Every other Friday, I want to do call-in streams where I just get into Discord with Balth as like the moderator who pulls people in one at a time. You get like 10, 15 minutes, depending on how many people get in line to talk to me about something. If it ends up being a really good debate, then, you know, we can go longer. But if it's just like you want to talk to me and get like 15 minutes to speak with me, then you'll get 15 minutes to speak with me and you can talk about whatever. But if you want to debate me on something and it gets really interesting, then we can go longer. God, my nose won't stop itching. I also shaved my face, but I didn't, like, pluck all of my nose hairs, which is why I've got the nose itch. I need to pluck all my nose hairs. I usually get tweezers, and I just, like, stick them in there and, like, grab, like, any hair that I feel, like, from tugging, and I just go... and just rip every last bit of hair out with tweezers until the insides of my nostrils are bald. And then I've got no more nose itch. That's what solves it for me. But God, I haven't done it in a while, so... yeah, rip and tear until it is done. Yeah, no more Goblin Hours streams. As I said before, I really want to stream during the day more often, usually starting at noon at the latest, like I did today, because I really like using natural sunlight for my lighting on stream, notably because look how good I look in natural sunlight. I look very well lit. My room is well lit. But on top of that, I don't have to use studio lights that are like blaring, blasting into my eyes and making me have to squint like I used to have to, and like my eyes tear up uncontrollably like I used to have to. So yeah, just having natural sunlight coming in through the windows and lighting me up, because I've got a window on this side lighting up my side that faces the camera, and a window on this side lighting up the front of me. So it's like absolutely perfect natural lighting even during the winter. And you know, I'll be able to stream a little later and even start a little later as we get into the summer months, because it won't get dark so early. But for now, I've got to start at noon at the latest. And we're already getting to 3 p.m. in the next hour, so, you know, it's going to start to get dark. My lighting's going to start to get shit just as the sun goes down. It's also cloudy today. But yeah. Dude, can I show you guys something cool? I've always had a hyper fascination with smelting, forging, and molding metals. You know? And now that I've got my own backyard, and I can't really do bird stuff until I've dealt with my rat problem, I've decided what my current project is going to be, and I think I'm going to make a video where I do this, because I've made one of these before. I did it for a school project, and I used it a lot. I used it as a forge to forge steel and iron, and I used it to melt aluminum and all sorts of other like lesser metals like lead and copper. What's the fucking channel? Here it is. Ah, the King of Random. I've showed this on stream before, by the way. The guy who made this video, the channel that we're watching has since been inherited by his two assistants, because the guy who made this channel, Grant Thompson, and made this video, passed away. He died when paramotoring a few years ago. They're his kids. Oh, I didn't know they were his kids. They were fired? When were they fired? Apparently they're his kids. I'm hearing a lot of different things, but anyway, here we go. Here we go. This is what I want to do myself. I want to make one for forging and melting of metal for casting, because I like melting and casting metal. What can I say?
Things aren't always what they might appear to be. For example, this decorative houseplant you're looking at is actually an artfully disguised metal melting furnace. In this project, we're using equal parts of sand and plaster to make a simple backyard foundry that's powerful enough to melt scrap metal in seconds, but still pleasant enough to keep around for decoration. Let's start this project with a big bag of clay sand and some plaster of Paris, both of which you can find at your local hardware store for under $20. We're also going to need a 10-quart steel bucket and a tablecloth to cover anything important, because chances are this is going to get a bit messy. I found that this 2.5-quart bucket can be used for measuring the ingredients, but it also serves a more important purpose that you'll see in just a second. Now the recipe I'm using for this makeshift refractory lining is 1 3/4 buckets full of plaster of Paris.
It's not expensive or hard to make.
1 1/4 buckets filled with water.
I've done
the moment
this
the water touches
before.
the dry mix, the clock starts ticking, and we've only got about 15 minutes before it all hardens up. So let's get busy mixing everything together. It's really important to get all the dry powder wet and work out any lumps as quickly as possible. And after mixing for a couple of minutes, it should be fairly runny and roughly all the same color. Now when you're convinced there aren't any lumps of powder left in the bucket, the refractory mix is ready for pouring. So let's carefully transfer it to the steel bucket as slowly as practical to minimize the splattering. There should be just enough fluid to fill the bucket about 3 inches from the top. And now if we bring back our plastic measuring bucket, we can use it to form the center of the foundry. I filled my bucket with water to give it a bit of weight, but anything like sand or rocks will work as well. And you can see that as we push the bucket into the center, the mixture rises upward, but it doesn't spill out. Now it's obvious that the mix is already starting to firm up, so let's start working the bucket up and down a few times to help level it before it sets. All we have to do now is hold still for 2 to 3 minutes. This will give the plaster just enough time to harden so the bucket stays in place even when we let go. All right, time for a little cleanup. Everything will still need about an hour to really harden up, but the plaster is still soft enough that we can clean and shape it to look really good. And while we're here, we may as well wipe the bucket down as well. Now I found that if we dampen a rag and gently drag it around the top, the surface cleans up really nicely and gets a cool texture in the process. When it looks the way you want it to, simply leave it for about an hour. Now while we're waiting, why don't we turn this old steel fire extinguisher into a custom crucible? You can tell it's made from steel because when we hold a magnet to it, it sticks, and magnets won't do that with aluminum. I depressurized the tank and unscrewed the valve from the top to make it safe and easy to cut in half with a hacksaw.
So here's the thing. This is a way smaller fire extinguisher and crucible than it looks like. One thing that I ran into as a problem when I made mine is I used a bucket about this size, and I found it's actually quite small. It's actually really small. I would want to go for a maybe twice as large bucket. So I could get a space here about twice as big to fit a proper graphite crucible. And like charcoal briquettes is pretty good, but you could also hook up like butane torches and use like some real direct like gas powered heat directly on the crucible. Just put at the bottom with a cover on top. But yeah, like the rest of the process is quite simple. You basically just build a lid as well in a pan with the cement, and you just fill it with charcoal, drill a hole, put some oxygen through there with like a leaf blower, and you've got yourself a furnace, a foundry, hot enough to get steel white hot, and to get, I mean, I've melted steel with this thing before. I literally melted a steel crucible that I had. I did the same thing he did, where I sawed a fire extinguisher in half that was made of steel. The fucker melted. That's how hot this can get. It can melt thin steel. So yeah, I want to make a slightly larger one, sort of a maybe even like a trash can sized one. That would be dope. But I don't know if I'd be needing to melt that much metal. But I'd like to forge some cool stuff, and I've got a really good covered back porch in my backyard. I've got to show it off to you guys once like the content's ready. But it's like the best place ever to set up is like, it looks like the little porch where the blacksmith in the first town you go to in Skyrim is at. Like that little house, the porch by the river in the first town in Skyrim, River Run or whatever. It reminds me of that. I could totally deck it out for blacksmithing, much the same. I wonder how the size affects how hot it'll get. More charcoal and more air that can go through there means it'll get hotter. His name is Alvor, you bastard. I haven't played Skyrim, like, very far in... I'm going to be honest. You could pretty much say I haven't played Skyrim. Do you think one day, like, after I've expended through a lot of the games on my list, I should play through Skyrim with, like, a bunch of graphical mods to, like, improve... Like, just some quality of life and graphical mods to, like, up the quality of it to a slightly more modern standard, and finally play through Skyrim on stream someday. Like, I've never played through Skyrim. I've only ever gotten as far as getting to, like, the big city on the hill in the big valley. Whiterun, maybe? Never really got much further than that. Oh, it's Riverwood and Whiterun. I'm sorry. That's like the beginning of the game still? Yeah, I never said I said I practically haven't played Skyrim. I've played up till that point like 1,000 times. The amount of times that I've done that intro sequence where the dragon comes is insane. You know, so I've almost like become burned out on the game, but I want to finally play through it, and I need to get some like cool graphical mods and like some world overhaul visual mods once I've got a new PC. You never got Dragonborn powers? I don't think so. You know what? I think the furthest I ever got was getting to the Greybeards at the top of the mountain. I think I got like the first word of one of the shouts. think I made it to the top of the mountain past that troll. One time. That was the furthest I ever made it. And then I fell off of it. I had it on PS3. And I'd always get pulled away by PC gaming. And my PC couldn't run Skyrim. So, like, I never found myself playing it on there. I don't know. I used to work in women's health, which covers both cis and trans women's health care. Cool, Delancer. Oh no, Skyrim on PS3 was a pain. Yeah, it was something. It was an experience, that's for sure. All right, let me bring up the next segments. There we go. Okay. Y'all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1. Action. The internet is ablaze right now because in this week, we are supposedly going to get the release of a bunch of classified names on Jeffrey Epstein's docket of people that he'd worked with. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Are these names all people who had gotten his services for, like, child sex trafficking? Or all these names just people that he had worked with and, like, any of them could or maybe could not be into that part of Epstein's life? Is it all just going to be, here's the pedo list, or here's a list of people that were... It's passengers. Okay, on his plane. I see. So yeah, as I figured, like, people are probably going to be a little bit overzealous with the claims that every person on the list must be a pedophile. If I'm being honest with you guys... Well, I think most rich people are like weirdo freaks that are doing some pretty heinous shit behind the scenes. You also have to understand that even within the realm of rich people that are not like blood-drinking child rapers, they're all friends. Like, when you're rich, you tend to be friends with lots of rich people, and then your friendships with those rich people make you friends with other rich people through that, and then you're not very many degrees of separation from, like, some of the most known wealthy human beings in the world, if that makes sense. That's been my understanding of how, like, the wealthy class of, like, the 1% seem to know each other, like, wealthy and powerful people. So the fact that they were just people who rode on his jet doesn't necessarily mean they were in the know on, like, the shit that he was doing. But I'm pretty sure it means that everybody on that list is probably going to be ruined, if I'm being honest. I'm pretty sure, regardless, everybody on that list is probably going to be ruined. At least within reason. Now, the story behind this is pretty big. Court documents naming Jeffrey Epstein's associates to be unsealed. What to know? Hundreds of sealed court filings pertaining to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein are set to be made public this week, and several prominent names, including Britain's Prince Andrew and former President Bill Clinton, are expected to appear in the documents. U.S. District Judge Loretta Preska ruled earlier this month there was no legal justification for continuing to conceal the ex-president's name and more than 150 names other John and Jane Does mentioned in the records. Preska ordered the unsealing to begin after January 1st. That's after today. The documents stem from a 2015 civil lawsuit centered on allegations that Epstein's one-time paramour, Ghislaine Maxwell, facilitated the sexual abuse of Virginia Giuffre, an alleged trafficking victim. Giuffre also accused Epstein and Maxwell of directing her to have sex with Prince Andrew and several other prominent men. Prince Andrew denied the allegations and claimed he could not recall ever meeting Giuffre. He later settled a lawsuit she filed against him. Most of the prominent names that appear in the documents are already associated in some way with Epstein for allegations of wrongdoing for having worked for Epstein, flown on his planes, or visited his homes. Some were mentioned during Maxwell's criminal trial in 2021. In some instances, the only appearances of the names are in potential witness lists or in proposed terms for searches of electronic records. Well, Giuffre's, I don't know how to pronounce that last name. I don't know what I don't... We're reading some crazy last names today. While Giuffre's allegations against Prince Andrew and his denials have been widely reported around the globe, dozens of sealed records are expected to contain additional details from Jane Doe 162, a witness who when numbers are getting up to 162 in a case like this, we know we're talking about a large list of victims. Jesus. A witness who testified she was with Prince Andrew, Maxwell, and Giuffre, then 17, at Epstein's New York mansion. Giuffre has alleged that gathering in 2001 was one of the occasions she was directed to have sex with Andrew. She made no allegations of wrongdoing by Clinton, and there's no indication the sealed records contain evidence of illegal conduct by Clinton. Dude. I know that Bill Clinton's, like, a creep or whatever, but is there actually no solid evidence that Bill Clinton is, like, a kitty diddler? Is it literally just a right-wing meme? Chat, is there anything? Or is it literally just, like, right-wingers hating Bill Clinton and really wanting him to be a pedophile? I actually don't know. There's never anything. But her claim that she met the ex-president on Epstein's private Caribbean island emerged as a contentious issue in the litigation, which was settled in 2017. So apparently, she claims that she at least met Bill Clinton on the what's it called? Little St. James Island, Epstein's Island. Maxwell contended Clinton had never been to Little St. James Island, as Epstein's Island was known, and assailed Giuffre's claims as a fabrication that shattered her credibility. Personal flight logs kept by one of Epstein's pilots, which surfaced in separate lawsuits against Epstein, showed that Clinton and his entourage had flown extensively on Epstein's jumbo jet to international destinations such as Paris, Bangkok, and Brunei in 2002 and 2003. But none of the available records included the former president on a trip to Epstein's Island. The court documents to be unsealed this week present the 8th and likely final round of unsealing records from the case since the Miami Herald intervened for access to the records in 2018. Previously unsealed items include multiple deposition transcripts of Maxwell and Giuffre, along with sworn but unproven allegations that Epstein and Maxwell directed Giuffre to have sex with well-known men, including former Senate Majority Leader George Mitchell, the late model scout Jean-Luc Brunel, millionaire hedge fund manager Glenn Dubin, and others. I believe one of the Koch brothers was also on the list of the flight logs, too. The original release. Maxwell denied the allegations, as did all the men identified by Giuffre when their names surfaced. This batch will involve the names of additional Epstein associates, alleged perpetrators, alleged co-conspirators, alleged victims, witness, and former Epstein employees. Several of the does mentioned in the document are now deceased. Oh, does. Several of the does mentioned in the document are now deceased. So a lot of the women mentioned in the list of supposed sex trafficking women, or sex trafficking victims, are now dead. That's Former President Clinton, who ABC News has learned is identified as Doe 36, is mentioned. Wait, Doe 36? Wouldn't he be a John? Is mentioned in more than 50 of the redacted filings, according to court records. Several of those sealed or redacted entries are focused on an effort by Giuffre's lawyers in mid-2016, first reported by ABC News, to subpoena the two-term Democratic president for deposition testimony about his relationship with Epstein. According to portions of the court record that were not sealed, Giuffre's legal team initiated informal discussions with attorneys for the then unnamed witness on June 9, 2016. That was a few days after the former president's wife, Hillary Clinton, clinched the Democratic nomination for president. Representatives for Giuffre did not contact the former president's attorneys in 2016 about a potential deposition. A person familiar with the situation told ABC News. Clinton's lawyers responded that his testimony would not be helpful to Giuffre because the person said the former president had never been on Epstein's island, as she had claimed. Maxwell called the move to question Clinton utter nonsense and a transparent ploy by Giuffre to increase media exposure for his sensational stories through deposition sideshow. Her attorney, Laura Menninger, wrote, according to an unrelated section of a court filing. Giuffre's legal team, in contrast, described the proposed testimony of Clinton as highly relevant and important to the fundamental claims and defenses in the case. The request was ultimately denied by the U.S. District Judge Robert Sweet in a redacted ruling in late June 2016. Giuffre's lawyers pressed the Clinton issue again at a hearing in March 2017, 6 weeks before a trial was scheduled to begin. According to a publicly available transcript, Giuffre's team was then seeking to preclude Maxwell's side from presenting testimony suggesting that Clinton hadn't been on Epstein's island. Her attorneys argued it would be inherently unfair to Giuffre because they had not been permitted to ask the former president if he had ever been to Little St. James, as Epstein's private island estate was known. You did not allow us to depose him because you said it was irrelevant, McCrawley told Judge Sweet. So now we're in a position where, at trial, they want to put forth that information against my client, and I don't have an under oath statement from that individual saying whether or not he actually was, she added. Maxwell's attorneys, according to the transcript, told the court Maxwell was prepared to take the stand and testify that Clinton was never on the island. But because the trial never occurred, Giuffre's motion to exclude the testimony about Clinton was left unresolved. More information about the debate over the issue could become public in the documents to be unsealed. Clinton's name is also expected to be unsealed in filings surrounding separate efforts by Maxwell and Giuffre to compel Epstein to answer questions. The disgraced financier invoked his constitutional rights against self-incrimination to every inquiry during a September 2016 deposition, as he had done many times before in civil lawsuits against him. According to a procedure established by Preska, attorneys for each of the does were offered a preview of the court files containing their name before determinations were made about unsealing the records. Each person was afforded an opportunity to argue for keeping the records sealed. Clinton's legal team, after reviewing the excerpts, did not lodge any objections to the publication on the documents, or of the documents. Sorry, I'm having a hard time reading today. I'm so sorry. Hey, Heavy Gretel. According to Preska's order last month, as spokesperson for Clinton declined to comment for this story. So, everyone's real excited for more of these names to get out, but I'm honestly more interested in a name that everyone has known for a very long time that has frankly gotten an embarrassing lack of attention even after Epstein was fully confirmed to be guilty of these claims of pedophilia and sex trafficking. This is an article from 7 years ago, Saturday the 5th of November, 2016. Woman who accused Donald Trump of raping her at 13 drops lawsuit. Here are the pinpoints. Woman had alleged Trump and billionaire Jeffrey Epstein raped her in 1994. Accuser's attorney filed voluntary dismissal. Trump had denied the accusations. This was back in 2016. I'm not going to read all of this because I already just read a really long article, but I'll read this 2016 article, and I just want you to take all of this in with the knowledge you have now about Epstein. A woman who'd accused Donald Trump of raping her when she was 13 years old dropped her lawsuit against the Republican nominee on Friday. One of the accuser's attorneys, Thomas Mayer, filed a $1 Page voluntary dismissal in district court in New York late on Friday. Neither he nor a second attorney listed immediately responded to questions about the document. The woman, who had filed suit earlier this year under the pseudonym Jane Doe, had alleged that Trump and billionaire Jeffrey Epstein had raped her in 1994 when she was a 13-year-old aspiring model. This week, she abruptly canceled a plan to speak publicly about the allegations, and another attorney, Lisa Bloom, cited numerous threats against her client. She dropped her charges and all public speaking engagements and decided to stay anonymous after death threats. Quote, "She's been here all day, ready to do it, but unfortunately she is in terrible fear," Bloom said on Wednesday. Bloom's mother, Gloria Allred, is an attorney representing several women who have accused Trump of sexual misconduct. Trump had been given a tentative court date for the civil lawsuit of 16th of December and has denied all the accusations made against him. After Doe's suit was filed in June, Alan Garton, a lawyer for the Trump Organization, told The Guardian that the claims were a complete fabrication. "This is basically a sham lawsuit brought by someone who desires to impact the presidential election," he said. A virtually identical lawsuit was filed in April in California and dismissed for technical errors. An investigation linked the lawsuits to Norm Lubow, a former television producer with a history of disputed allegations against celebrities. Both suits name Epstein, a financier who was convicted of soliciting sex from an underage girl in 2008. The court order to Trump and Epstein's attorneys gave no details of Doe's complaint, but the original suit alleged that Trump assaulted her at Epstein's home in Manhattan and at parties hosted by the financier. So there is a similar story against Trump that was, struck down because it was linked to a guy who's known for making up stories. But this story, the lady just dropped the suit and went completely anonymous and refused to make public speaking engagements after multiple people close to her said she was getting death threats. Now, were the death threats from, Donald Trump's team? That's a bit of a conspiratorial claim to make, but I can guarantee you she was getting death threats from his fans, if his fans knew who she was. But apparently she was completely anonymous, though. So if she was receiving death threats, it couldn't be from Trump's fans. It would have to be from people who knew who she was. So unless I'm wrong there, I guess you'll have to do with that info what you will. But yeah, frankly, Donald Trump and the amount of claims that he and Jeffrey Epstein have done some sussy shit and the amount of times he's talked about... this is the guy who's talked about his daughter in these ways. Donald Trump talking about his daughter. Gross things Donald Trump has said about his daughters. Here we go. Let's go. This dude's just a creep. We've all known it.
It would be really disappointing. Not really. But it would depend on what was inside the magazine. I don't think Ivanka would do that inside the magazine, although she does have a very nice figure. I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know?
Stop it! Oh, it's so weird!
Yeah, she's really something, and what a beauty, that one. If I weren't happily married and, her father. God, he's said that line multiple times, that, man, if I wasn't married and I weren't her dad, he said that about his daughters so many times. He's not joking.
I have never been so grateful for an ellipsis in my life.
You know who's one of the great beauties of the world, according to everybody, and I helped create her?
Who?
Ivanka. My daughter, Ivanka.
Yeah.
She's 6 feet tall. She's got the best body. Yeah, she's hot.
Dog.
She's got more or less legs. We don't know whether or not she's got this part yet, but time will tell.
Dude, that was when... that was when she was young then. Oh my god. Dude, when she was a baby?
She's got more or less legs. We don't know whether or not she's got this part yet, but time will tell. Well, I was going to say sex, but I can't relate that.
He would be incredible for women in this country. And
God, his whole family runs his PR, but hey, I guess he's got a supportive family. You can't say he doesn't have a supportive family at the very least. Christ. Yeah, that's the only name I care about on Epstein's flight logs. I want to see Trump's name come out. What do you guys think of that segment? I feel like it came out pretty damn good. Good seg? Hell yeah. I've got one more segment to do today, and it's going to be a juicy one, too. It's not even in the title. But I got to use the bathroom really quick first, so I'll be right back, okay? I love you all. Be good while I'm gone. I'll be quick. Alrighty. We're back. I got a good segment planned for you guys to finish off this stream. Pretty short stream. It's probably going to come out to be like 3 hours. I got some pretty quick topics today. And plus, I don't have any gaming stuff to do today. And I do have stuff I want to do after stream, too. So it's actually kind of beneficial. Did he end stream? No. No, my stream's still going. I believe I'm here. Am I here? Hello? Hello? I'm pretty sure I didn't end stream. I think I'm here. Just hit refresh, guys. No, you're here. Yeah. If you, I don't feel like there should be any issues with the stream. Is it like... Yeah, it's ultra low latency. Yeah, we all Gucci. Yeah, we all Gucci. Okay, cool. All right. There was a link someone sent me on Twitter that's related to this I wanted to show as well. Let me see if I can bring it up. Dog. Literally, I follow the guy. How is it this hard? God, Twitter's search feature has always just been the worst, hasn't it? It's always sucked dick. Okay, it's fine. No, it's not fine. It's awful. Congressional candidate. Yeah, here it is. Here he is. Yep, this is the guy.
petitions that
Whoa,
liberty-loving Americans.
Twitter, stop! Fuck you! I don't want the video to play without UI to make me pause. Let me pause it. No one wants that. No one wants that, Twitter. No one thinks that's based. Okay? All right. Ooh. Orther's Dork, thank you for the tier 1 gift sub to the Urchonian. I really appreciate it. No message, but very kind of you. Very based and very appreciated. Remember, guys, if you're enjoying the stream, feel free to drop a like, subscribe, ring the bell icon. Whatever you wish to do, it really helps out the channel. Thanks, guys. Okay. All right. Y'all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1, action. Well, this is one of those situations where I'm kind of put in a situation where I gotta cover, in a critical way, a YouTuber that I normally like. Somewhat similar to when I made my video calling out Muda from Some Ordinary Gamers, who'd made a bit of a misstep on a take he'd had about Pepe being claimed to be a hate symbol. He didn't read the whole ADL page where they specified you had to look at the context of its usage to determine whether or not it's being used anti-Semitically or not. Obviously, not all of its usage is a hate symbol, but people just neglected that entire paragraph or paragraphs of that page and said that the ADL said Pepe is a hate symbol through and through always. And I corrected him on it, and he had a pretty positive reaction. However, today, we're talking about a different YouTuber, very different realm of content in general, that I actually really like. You see, I am super into guns. Like, I love guns. I fucking love guns, dude. I'm so pro-gun, you can't even handle it. I'm so pro-gun, I've got a gun right there. That's a gun case. I've got one right there. I love my guns. Guns are great. They're based, they're fun, they're loud, and they make things explode, which is cool. I like that. I like shooting an onion and watching it go pop downrange. Here's the thing, though. If you like guns, and you like gun content, which you probably do if you like guns, then you're pretty much exclusively going to be fed to a very select group of gun channels on YouTube. Now, granted, you know, as somebody who watches a lot of gun content, I won't lie to you and say there's not a very large and diverse community of people, but the three biggest ones are obviously Brandon Herrera, Hickok45, who I really like, and what's the other guy? Grand Thumb. There are a bunch of other people, but these three are like the big guys that everybody knows from what I've heard. Like when I talk to gun people, everyone knows those three. And back in the day, it was FPS Russia, but he doesn't FPS Russia anymore for reasons involving weed and the federal government. You can probably guess what happened. Anyway, Brendan Herrera is the person we're talking about today. And I must admit, for a very long time, I've really liked his videos. I like them a lot. His series, Darwin Awards, is fantastic, where it's just him going over different examples of people using guns in a stupid way, or like in getting themselves hurt or other people hurt, which, you know, part of it is the funny, like, people blowing their dicks off with a gun, and part of it's also, like, the constant reaffirmation of those fundamental rules, those 4 rules of firearm safety that were come up with by, what was his name, Colonel Cooper? I think it was Colonel Cooper is his name. Obviously, treat every firearm like it's loaded. Keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. Always know what is in between you and your target and what is beyond your target. And I'm blanking right now because I don't know what I started with now. Wait, which ones have I already said? Wait, which ones have I already said? This is what I get for listing something while stoned. Getting stoned and listing things is my weakness. Oh, yes, and the fourth rule, of course, have fun no matter what. But yeah, you know, he hammers home the fundamental rules of firearm safety. You know, always point your gun in a safe direction. Always treat a gun like it's loaded. Never keep your finger on the trigger until you're ready to shoot. You know, keep it off the trigger. And always know what's between you and your target and beyond it. He hammers those rules home in a very entertaining way, constantly, repetitively, to the extent that you cannot ever forget them, because anytime you would even think about putting your finger on the trigger when you're just like walking around, or even thinking about putting your finger on the trigger to dry fire it when you 100% know it's empty, you still should have this anxiety that makes you want to check it one last time before you dry fire. And, you know, his content around the gun world has always been pretty good. But as time has gone on, especially in the last year, I've noticed that he's gotten a lot more open with his non-gun related politics. Now listen, if you're super pro-gun, hell, if you're someone in America who makes their living off of gun content, I genuinely can't blame you if you vote Republican. I can't. The Democrats are not only so misinformed, but downright antagonistic towards legal gun ownership, not even like criminal, like intention and criminal use of guns. Legal gun ownership is seen as like something to look down on a significant portion of Americans for on the left. Like, oh, you own a gun, you redneck hicks, you know, like that kind of mindset that a lot of Democratic voters have that want to get guns like completely banned. And so if you're somebody who likes guns, you're going to come to this channel and you're quickly going to find that if you want to keep your gun rights, at least as far as these YouTubers will tell you, the only way is to vote Republican. Now, if that's where it began and ended, I wouldn't really have much of a problem with them, because frankly, if really all you care about in the realm of politics is guns, and like all you care about when you walk into that voting booth and vote is guns, I can't really blame you if you vote Republican. I can't really blame you, because you don't give a fuck about anything else. However, I've started to notice some more right-wing takes, culture war issues getting referenced in Brandon Herrera's videos lately. Notably like, Bud Light cringe, woke bad kind of stuff, you know? And that definitely put me off his content a bit. But he started to explode enormously in popularity even further as of late due to some announcements he made recently. Now, we'll go ahead and take a look at some of his recent videos here. Like, you can see, he's a big channel, and his content is, Old Man Pee-Pee Smacks Climate Protesters. You know, he's definitely got a certain political leaning, but it's mostly gun content. It's mostly just gun content with, like, smatterings of right-wing culture war shit in there, you know? Nothing that's so overt that it's really worth calling out. I will say he recently did this this event called he posted a video of it called "We hosted the biggest YouTuber range day ever." Now, to be clear, I don't think everybody who went to this was a bad person. I know people who went to this event. Not like I'm not super close with any of them, but like I have spoken to people who went to this event. And as you can see from the first frame, there's some pretty questionable figures that are invited. This is like the big range day where all of the right-leaning YouTubers who like guns that are in this sphere of like dude bro gun YouTubers and like edgelord types, even Sam Hyde, all got together to shoot at the range and bro down. I saw lots of posts on it on Twitter the day this happened. This is like a big deal on YouTube.
What?
Go ahead and watch a moment of it, maybe you can spot some YouTubers.
Me and Donut Operator just hosted the biggest creator range day of all time. We invited YouTubers, streamers, pro fighters, meme lords, my son, to a private range day hosted at Demolition Ranch's brand new range. I brought out a ton of my personal machine guns, sponsors brought some of their own guns, and between me, Donut, and Demo, we put on the biggest creator range day.
So, like, overall, I've just kind of found, yeah, and Donut Operator is like in that same realm too. I've always just found like bits like this just to be a bit more cringe from him. Like, oh yeah, we're hanging out with the right-wing bros. It's just like, I'm just gonna stick to watching your videos where you make fun of dumb fucks shooting themselves because they can't follow firearm safety. But Yeah, Wendigoon. Yeah, Wendigoon's also quite right-leaning from the bit of politics he's let out on podcasts and stuff I've seen him on. Anyway, here's the thing, though. All that kind of... It didn't bother me too much. Like, I was still willing to look past it. It didn't seem like it was worth me making a video about and, like, saying, hey, guys, check this out. Until I saw this image. Brendan Herrera... Hold on. Brendan Herrera did a video with Marjorie Taylor Greene, or like a selfie. I'm trying to see if I can find it right now. Did he like delete it because of backlash? Why can't I find it? Dog, I swear. I am not Mandela affecting this. Please tell me I'm not Mandela affecting this. I swear to God. Marjorie Taylor Greene and Brendan Herrera, like, took a selfie together. And people were, like, sharing it around. And it was, like, a big thing. Wendigoon has all the energy of a youth pastor who says shit like heckin'. You know Wendigoon's day job is that he is a youth pastor, right? He deleted the photo? No shot. He deleted it? I know for a fact I'm not making this up. Does anyone have, like, a repost? Does anybody have a repost? I swear, I feel like I'm being gaslit by the internet right now. Dog. Anyway, well, I can't find the image, but this followed, or I should say was followed by, an interesting announcement. Brendan Herrera is going to be running for Congress in Texas District 23. Here's his poster, his announcement he made. Make America Texas again. And he also put out this short video on Twitter explaining his running for office. I honestly think he has a good chance of winning. I haven't looked at the polls or anything like that, if there even is any polling yet, but considering the fact he's bringing a massive amount of support into this, it seems quite likely that that he's going to probably end up like having a good chance of winning at least. He'll put up a good fight. His fans deleted their copies to try and scrub it from the internet. Really? I mean, it does look pretty bad for him to associate with Marjorie Taylor Greene. People like this guy and Wendigoon. Listen, I like Wendigoon's content and I like this guy's content, but I'm not going to pretend like they don't hold political opinions. They obviously do. Both of them are very obviously quite right-leaning, but have a large audience of people who want to defend them from that accusation because they know being framed as like conservative or right-wing is like kind of a bad look in a lot of spaces. So instead of defending the views that they hold, they argue they don't hold the views they hold. So like Wendigoon, I've seen go on podcasts and talk about how he's like anti-woke. He's like a youth pastor for his day job. He's like very clearly right-wing, especially when you see him on PKA. He tries to keep it a little more clean because he's got like a big reputation to preserve, but you can tell, you know, he's got some pretty iffy beliefs, right? And he and Brendan Herrera and other content creators like this rely heavily on a massive audience of people arguing on their behalf that you're just a weirdo if you think they're right-wing. Yeah, you could be conservative and not a monster. That's the thing that I feel like so many people don't understand. I guess, to be fair, a lot of people on the left use conservative, right-wing, or any other like a word that is synonymous with like conservatism as a thought-terminating cliche. For those who don't know what a thought-terminating cliche is, it's basically just accusing someone of something that is bad, and everybody just immediately agrees is bad, right? Like, pedojacketing is a thought-terminating cliche, right? Like, oh, I can't win this argument. I'm going to accuse you of being a pedophile, and everyone hates pedophiles, so if everyone thinks you're a pedophile, then I win the argument, right? That's an example of someone using a thought-terminating cliche. A lot of people on the left do this with conservative. They just say, oh, this person's conservative, and then just leave it at that. Like, this person's a bad person, they're evil, they're awful, there's no good in them, there's no, way they could improve as a person because they're evil. I don't believe that. When I say insert YouTuber I think is conservative or right-wing, that's just me saying what I think their politics are. There's many YouTubers that I watch that are right-wing. Like PKA, I straight up have to, tune out when they start talking about politics because it is so mind-numbingly bad. I have to keep myself from forgetting that I'm not live and actively, pausing to debunk stupid shit they say. But then they go back to talking about weed or guns or, movies or fitness, and I'm like, okay, now we're talking about something that's funny and interesting with these guys. I don't think there's I don't think being conservative makes you a bad person inherently. I think the reasons you're conservative can make you a bad person. So large right-wing pundits that just lie out their ass know that they're lying most of the time, and the reason they're pushing these ideals and are publicly presenting as conservative are not the same reason I think Brendan Herrera is. I think this guy is genuine in his beliefs, and I know for a fact he is genuine in his pro-gun beliefs. Also, I believe he's working on this project to create a 50 caliber AK called the AK-50. He's a big AK guy. He loves AKs. And so, I fully support it. I want to see the AK-50 become reality. I don't hate this guy. I don't want to see his downfall. I want to see him make the AK-50 happen.
I announced I am going to be running for Congress.
That's why I'm running for Congress.
I will be challenging the establishment Republican Tony Gonzalez for the District 23 congressional seat in the Republican primary for 2024. What I guess inspired this is that a large number of the politicians that liberty-loving Americans have turned to defend these ideals have failed. It's like once they win their...
To be fair, Republicans aren't even all that good at preserving gun rights. In some cases they are, but when you consider the fact that it should be an easy... I used to have a chair exactly like this. What the fuck? Guys, my grandma had a pair of chairs identical to this. It's all one big thing, and it's denim. It's denim fabric. It's way bluer when it's not in this light. The light is distorting it, but I know for a fact, holy shit. I don't know, it's an old chair, too, a nice old chair, so it stood out to me when I noticed it. You still hear Grandma's chairs? No, I still have them. So he just has, an identical chair or chair set, which is crazy, because they'd be old if that was the case. Regardless, that aside, I do think that, considering the fact most Republicans should have a layup opportunity to just abolish any laws that crack down on legal gun ownership, considering the Second Amendment exists, and they can just point to that, Republicans really let the Democrats take a lot of ground on gun issues just so they can have guns as a wedge issue to lean on, right? If there was really no real risk of Democrats taking those rights away because Republicans shot them down at every opportunity, then there wouldn't really be much of a concern about Democrats getting elected in the first place as long as there were a couple of Republican judges, right? Because all it takes is one Republican judge to shoot down, California's more than 10 magazine law, right? So with that in mind, I feel like the Republicans let the Democrats take a lot more ground so that they can fearmonger about the Democrats taking so much ground. It takes one Republican judge, one federal judge in a state to shoot down a law on the basis of the Second Amendment of our Constitution. It's really not hard. So he's not wrong there when he says that most even Republican politicians aren't that pro-gun, at least in their actions and their policy making.
Have failed. It's like once they win their first election, they feel untouchable in the primaries. We have to remind them that if they fail to uphold their oath to defend the Constitution, we will primary them, we will campaign against them, and we will win.
He's running against Republicans here, to be fair. Like, he's running against a Republican in a red district. So it's honestly not that, like, there's nothing destructive he's doing here. Obviously, he may be looking at starting a broader political career, but, like, besides his more cringe social takes that I've seen from him dipping into culture war issues, I like his reasonable takes on guns. He is very well reasoned on guns. His takes on guns are really good. But I feel like the antagonism against the Democrats, the well-meaning antagonism, the well-earned antagonism against Democrats, is leading to some pretty cringe shit. He does go anti-illegal immigrant takes in this. Yeah, no, he's also like obviously any Republican is anti-illegal immigration. Most Democrats are anti-illegal immigration, but like the definition of illegal immigration varies widely depending on who you're talking to on the right, because like white nationalists consider any form of non-white immigration to be illegal immigration, pretty much. Wait, Wendigoon's conservative? It's so bizarre to hear about a conservative that isn't a predator/domestic enemy, but I'm sure there must be plenty. Yeah, it's just that, like, people don't realize that a lefty saying someone is conservative doesn't necessarily have to mean they're saying that person is a bad person. Like, I just think he's got some, kooky off political values that, like, I could tell where he got his beliefs from. When it comes to guns, it's obvious. It's because the Democrats are just awful when it comes to guns, and even downright incendiary towards legal gun owners and try to make them an other or an enemy. But outside of that, it really just seems like it's mostly just culture war shit rubbing off on large public figures and audience capture as well. Like, if you're a pro-gun content creator, you likely are also going to have a pretty right-wing audience, and so you're going to get stuck into audience capture. Listen, I get a lot of shit for this, but I've lost a lot of subs before because I refuse to give in to audience capture. Stuff like the Afghanistan thing and like many other takes I've had that weren't popular with like the broader left, like with tankies and stuff. I had an audience of tankies early on, and I very easily could have just yes-manned my audience and grown way larger than I am now. But I've gone through purges, and I've gone through like massive controversies and cancellations. This is the kind of thing that a lot of content creators can't do. They fall into audience capture. They become a slave to their own audience. They become so afraid of upsetting their audience and losing them that they won't go against them. They won't say the unpopular take. They won't change their mind publicly because they've established an audience of people who already agree with them. Overall, what I'm trying to say is I don't think Brendan Herrera is a bad person. I definitely disagree with him on some stuff, but I overall like his content. And the fact that he's now getting into legit-ass politics means that I'm going to be following him. I'm going to be looking in. I'm going to be seeing if he's saying some bullshit or if he's saying some base shit. Simple as. What do you guys think of that segment? I feel like it came out pretty good. I feel like people have wanted me to do a segment on Brendan Herrera for a long time. Good segment? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Good to see. Alright, guys. I am hungry and tired. I actually didn't stay up for New Year's Eve last night. I didn't stay up till midnight. I just kind of passed out at like 10 because I was so tired. And I woke up really early this morning, which has made me tired earlier. So I'll probably have to get to bed early tonight. And I'll probably still wake up really early because I always wake up before the sun gets up. Yeah, I wake up before the sun. That's how cool and based I am. Let's do a bit of a stream cooldown really quick. What's something interesting to watch before we wrap things up? Dude, I always... You know what? I'm going to show this video again. Because this video never gets old for me. I've watched this video maybe a dozen times, and it's like It's got me so ready for the future of space tourism and how accessible it's going to be and has already become. For those that don't know, there's a company called Blue Origin. I think it's run by like Jeff Bezos. I think it's the company Jeff Bezos used to go up into space. And Dude Perfect, the 60 million sub YouTube channel a year ago, sent one of their guys up in the Blue Origin rocket into low Earth orbit to float around for a minute. And goddamn, is it cool. I don't know how much of this I can show without... Well, the stream's going to be demonetized regardless. I never worry about streams getting demonetized, but this isn't part of a segment, so we should be fine. But, like, look at these big-ass windows and how futuristic and cool it looks on the inside. I'm going to play the video, just the bit where they go up and they get to space and float around. But can you imagine how awesome it's going to be when videos like this are coming out, like, monthly on YouTube?
Light the candle!
That's going to happen right. Looks like a dick. We're fucking space. So loud. Holy shit. There we go.
Oh my gosh. Is he really in there?
It's crazy how slow they are. Like, it's disconcerting how slow rockets ascend.
No way. This is not happening. This is not a real thing that's happening.
Yeah, it's gotta be a dick so it can penetrate the atmosphere. Yeah, speed's building, though. It's gotta build up speed. You can see it's
E3 is back to
getting faster.
110,000 pounds of thrust, powering New Shepard and its crew to space.
Oh boy, that's bright. 70,000 feet. Oh, you can feel it in your neck. A much straighter launch than our previous rockets. We need to get their technology. Yo, he is literally about
Dude.
to see the planet.
We're about to be sending a space plane up for testing this year. That's like going to be sending manned crews, I believe, up to the ISS, or at least making shipments to the ISS. And it's going to be like a legit space plane. That's what I would want to go up in. Something that can take off and land like a airplane and go to space. I hate going up in rockets, and boy, would I fucking hate re-entry.
We're going 2,000 miles an hour.
There it is. They're in space.
Okay,
They're floating.
Oh, oh my gosh. Oh, guys, we're floating. We're floating. Thank you.
That's gotta feel so cool.
We're doing it. Okay. Guys. Oh my gosh.
Only for like 5 minutes, though.
Good for Cobes, dude. It's insane. Oh my word. I'm just spinning.
Look how like futuristic it is in there. It looks like a modern sci-fi movie inside this pod. Like, obviously this isn't made for a long journey, so, you know, they can make it a little bit more, you know, clean and sleek. But this is where we're at.
Clint. Look at that sky.
Look at those windows.
All right, now take it in.
Yeah, it's
guys.
crazy that it has such big windows. God damn. That's where we are. That's us, guys. Look at that blue marble. That's where we live. That's so neat.
Congratulations to all 6 crew of the Titanic.
And then they come down. And it gets boring because they're not in space anymore. Boring! Not in space. If your video doesn't take place in space, I won't watch it. But yeah, it's so cool. It's so goddamn cool. Flat Earthers see this and say, nah. Yeah, no, Dude Perfect is in on the round globe Earther conspiracy. How come people think the moon landing was faked when people actively go to space? Well, I mean, to be fair, I guess it'd be more realistic to believe they faked the moon landing back then than to believe that we're faking going to space now. But, yeah, I don't know. I feel like, I feel like there's been some pretty good debunkings of the claims that the moon landing is fake. Notably that, like, you can take a telescope out zoom into the moon and see the things we left up there. The lander and other equipment are literally visible on the surface of the moon from Earth via telescope. You can see the shit we left up there, and it's exactly the things we claim we left up there. So yeah. Do you know that all girls on Epstein's Island were boys? I didn't know that was true. Apparently, it was all boys. I doubt that's true. Anna Melanina, I think you're probably memeing. Simon Dan is a pretty good channel. I love his content. I cannot wait to see more space developments in this next year. That's like the most exciting thing. That's the thing I'm most excited for. Every new year. What awesome developments in space exploration are we going to unveil this year? And I'm usually quite impressed. But yeah. Anyway, guys, with all that said, there's really nothing else to talk about today. I've expended my topics, and I'm hungry, and I got some stuff to do today. But tomorrow, I will be streaming probably at the same time, and I cannot wait. May this year be big and awesome. Big and awesome. Dude, why does, did they, implement an update to Chatterino that made it so you can't ban people through Chatterino anymore? Because every time I use the ban function, it doesn't work anymore. I have to, open up Twitch on another window and, physically go in and ban them. I don't know why. Anyway, with all that said, I love you all very much. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow. Have a good one. Doo-doo fart.